Session is resumed. May we request the Honorable Florida Robes to please lead the invocation.
Let us all bow our heads for a prayer. Heavenly Father, we praise and thank you for this day. We are deeply humbled that you have placed us in this position to be your instruments for the good of our fellow Filipinos. As we gather in these halls of chamber today, we are assured that you are with us. For you have assured us, where there are two or more gathered in your name, you are there. Lord God, we humbly implore you to help us remove all the doubts, misunderstandings, and ill feelings towards each other. Give us comfort as we go through life's trials and challenges, making away all the hurts in our relationships. Let your everlasting love reign upon us through our session today and the remaining session of the days. Lord, as we are in the remaining 2 weeks of our session before we go on recess, we offer to you our agenda as we work to address some of the pressing issues facing our country today. Let the Holy Spirit guide us in the sworn duty to our countrymen. Lord God, make us your instruments of your divine purpose, of thy peace. Turn our abilities, connections, and talents into your divine will as we work together in unison. Help us endure disagreements and strive with godly courage and love. Dear Lord, we believe that we will overcome each and every obstacle with us united as one house of representatives and with you walking beside us, working through us, and leading us every step of the way. Almighty Father, we are still in the midst of pandemic. Help us, O Lord. Your people are still suffering, but with your help and the innate strength and resiliency of the Filipino people, we as a nation have forged on and have chosen to continue to move forward despite and in spite of unprecedented hardship and challenges, O Lord. Please shower us with your guidance, wisdom, and support to engage in meaningful discussions. Fill us with your God's grace as we make decisions and vote on measures that affect our countrymen. Lord, continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of the fruit, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. O Lord, protect us so that we can continue our mission and sworn duty of service to our constituents and the entire Philippine nation. Nourish us, Lord, with the Holy Spirit, that we can make every one moment count for the good of everyone. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with the Holy Spirit forever and ever. And of course, I'd like to give a prayer to our colleagues who are now sick. In Jesus' name, O Lord, we lift our hands to you, and please glorify us, O Lord. Amen. Amen.
The Honorable Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we hold the reference of business. Could the Secretary General be directed to read the title of bills and resolutions on first reading, as well as committee reports and communications? So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to read the titles of bills and resolutions on first reading, as well as the communications and committee reports for referral to the appropriate committees.
Additional reference of business, bills on first reading. House Bill 8993, providing government assistance to Madrasa Education System. Representative Yu.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 8994, declaring Bakulan Falls in Barangay Goliktap, Midsalip, Zamboanga del Sur as ecotourism site. Representative Yu.
To the Committee on Tourism.
House Bill 8995, establishing a center for children with special needs in every city and municipality. Representative Banyas Nograles.
To the Committee on Welfare of Children.
Resolutions. House Resolution 1650, urging the Committees on Health and Overseas Workers Affairs to inquire on the frequently changing testing and quarantine protocols being issued by the IATF EID. Representative Salo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1651, directing the Committee on Energy to urgently inquire on the recent spate of oil price hikes exacerbating the economic hardships caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Representative Macapagal Arroyo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1652, calling for investigation by the proper committee on the alleged mass unauthorized charging of Netflix services on PLDT and Sky cable accounts. Representative Defensor Michael.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1653, urging the Committee on Local Government to investigate the measures being taken by LGUs or the lack thereof in response to the reports on incidents of land grabbing that occur through the abuse of processes provided for by the local government code, and to address incidents of fraud in the surreptitious foreclosure of private properties, especially properties constituted as family homes, due to alleged non-payment of local real property taxes. Representative Arroyo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1654, strongly urging the Committee on Appropriations to allocate an additional 66,500,000 pesos to complete the proper implementation of the Listahan program of the TSWD.
To the Committee on Rules. To the Committee on Appropriations.
House Resolution 1655, congratulating, commending District Collector John Simon of the BOC Collection District Region 10 for having been recognized as one of the Asia Environmental Enforcement Awardee by the United Nations Environment Program for fighting transboundary environmental crimes. Representatives Uy, Juliet.
To the Committee on Ecology.
House Resolution 1656, congratulating, commending Ms. Gabriela Sarmiento Wilson, known professionally as HER, a Filipina-American singer and songwriter, for winning Song of the Year of the 2021 Grammy Awards for her song, I Can't Breathe. Representatives Velasco de Venecia, Alonte, Singson Mihan, Revilla, Maceda, Macapagal Arroyo, among others.
To the Special Committee on Creative Industry and Performing Arts.
House Joint Resolution 35, urging the IATF, EID, and the Interim National Immunization Technical Advisory Group for COVID-19 vaccine to transfer teachers to the A4 priority group for vaccination. Representative Kimbo.
To the Committee on Health.
Communications, emails, and letters from certain municipal mayors and budget officers informing the House on the reports on fund utilization and status of programs, projects, activities, implementation relative to Bayanihan Grant to cities and municipalities and provinces for certain months of 2020 and 2021.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Committee reports. Report numbers 867 to 870 of the Committees on Tourism and Appropriations on the House Bill numbers 9000 to 9003. Report number 871 of the Committees on Higher and Technical Education, Basic Education, Culture and Appropriations on House Bill 9004. Report number 872 of the Committee on Tourism on House Bill 9005. Report number 873 of the Committees on Trade and Industry, Health and Appropriations on House Bill 9007. Report numbers 874 and 875 of the Committee on Local Government on House Bill numbers 9008 and 9009.
To the Committee on Rules. The Honorable Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, during yesterday's session, the House approved on second reading House Bill 8910 based on Committee Report 815 with the title, An Act Promoting Open Access in Data Transmission and Providing Additional Powers to the National Telecommunications Commission, as amended. In accordance with Section 106 of Rule 14 of the House of Representatives, I move to reconsider the approval on second reading of House Bill 8910. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion as stated by the Honorable Majority Leader. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that we reconsider the closing of the period of amendments on House Bill 8910.
There's a motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we reconsider the closing of the period of sponsorship and debate on House Bill 8910. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion to close the period of sponsorship and debates is carried.
Mr. Speaker, for the information of our colleagues, the parliamentary status of House Bill 8910 is that, once considered, we are in the period of sponsorship and debate.
The manifestation of the Majority Floor Leader is noted.
Mr. Speaker, in accordance with our rules governing inquiries in aid of legislation, I move that we refer the following House resolutions to the appropriate committees. House Resolution 1626 to the Committee on Senior Citizens. House Resolution 1632 to the Committee on Labor and Employment. And finally, House Resolution 1633 to the Committee on Public Order and Safety. So moved.
There's a motion to refer the aforementioned resolutions to the appropriate committees. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to our rules governing inquiries in aid of legislation, I move that we refer the following speeches to the appropriate committees.
There's a motion to refer the aforementioned speeches to the following committees. Please proceed.
Thank you. And finally, all right. So, Mr. Speaker, to clarify that previous motion further, I move that the speech of the Honorable Acosta Alba be referred to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality, the speech of Representative Bolilia to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality, the speech of Representative Elago to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality, the speech of the Honorable Sangkopan to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality, the speech of the Honorable Brosas to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality, the speech of the Honorable Roman to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality, the speech of the Honorable Kulyamat to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality, the speech of the Honorable Ungab to the Committee on Appropriations, the speech of the Honorable Zubiri to the Committee on Senior Citizens, and the speech of the Honorable Arnie Teves to the Committee on Energy. The subject of the aforementioned speeches are contained in a matrix that is available with the House Secretariat. So move.
There is a motion to refer the aforementioned speeches to the appropriate committees. Is there any objection? Chair hears no objection. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we include additional co-authors to House Bill 8942, 8943, 8957, 8970 to 8974, 8976, 8977, 8986, 8320, 8990 to 8992, 8930, 8944, 8945, 8955, 8956, 8958, 8960 to 8963, 8965 to 8969, 8975, 8985, 8987, and 8988, and House Resolution 1646 to 1649, as contained in the list to be submitted by the Committee on Rules. So moved.
There is a motion to include as additional co-authors to the aforementioned House bills and resolutions. Is there any objection? Chair hears no objection. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider on second reading House Bill number 8955 as contained in Committee Report 830 and direct the Secretary General to read the title of that measure. So moved.
The Secretary General is so directed. Please proceed.
House Bill number 8955, an act converting the Bai District Hospital in the municipality of Bai, province of Laguna, into a general hospital to be known as the Laguna Regional Hospital and appropriating funds therefore.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Majority Leader.
thank you. Mr. Speaker, the status of the said measure is that it is in the period of sponsorship and debate. I move that we recognize the Honorable Ruth Mariano Hernandez, Vice Chair of the Committee on Health, to sponsor said House bill. So moved.
The Honorable Sponsor, the Representative Ruth Mariano Hernandez is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the part of the Committee on Health, we manifest that the explanatory note of the House Bill number 8955 be the sponsorship message of the said measure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Chair hears none. The motion of the sponsoring committee is approved. Please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wishes to interpolate the sponsor, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
There is a motion to close the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved. Please proceed, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
There any objection? Chair hears none. Period of amendments is now open.
Mr. Speaker, there are no committee amendments. However, I move that we recognize the Honorable Lawrence Defensor of the 3rd District of Iloilo for his individual amendments. So moved.
The Honorable Lawrence Defensor of the 1st District of Iloilo is recognized. Please proceed, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the permission of the sponsor, I respectfully propose the following amendments to House Bill number 8955. Amendment number 1 on page 1, section 1, line 3, by adding the phrase, open quote, which shall be under the direct supervision and control of the Department of Health, end quote.
What is the pleasure of the sponsoring committee?
On behalf of the
Mr.
majority, we accept the said amendment. So moved.
The sponsoring committee and the majority is. Are you accepting the proposal, Madam?
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the Committee on Health, this representation interposes no objection, Your Honor.
The Honorable Floor Leader, what does the House say?
Speaker, on behalf of the majority, we accept said amendment. So moved.
There is no objection to the amendment. So the amendment is carried.
Thank you,
Honorable
Mr. Speaker.
Defensor.
Next, on section 2, lines 5 and 6, delete the entire sentence, open quote, the authorized bed capacity of the Laguna Regional Hospital shall be increased from 25 to 50 beds, end quote. And in the same section, line 8, add the phrase, open quote, and submitted to the Department of Health, DOH, end quote, after the word hospital.
What is the pleasure of the sponsor?
I accept, Mr. Speaker.
Noted. What does the House say, the Honorable Floor Leader?
On behalf of the majority, we accept the amendment. So moved.
The amendment is accepted. The amendment is therefore carried. The Honorable Defensor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On page 1, section 4, line 15, insert a new sentence to read as follows, open quote, the Secretary of the Department of Health, DOH, shall, after consultation with the Chief of the Laguna Regional Hospital, and in accordance with the Secretary of the Department of Budget and Management and the Chairperson of the Civil Service Commission, determine the additional new positions to be created and filled up, end quote.
What does the sponsoring committee say to the proposed amendment?
I accept, Mr. Speaker.
What is the pleasure of the House, the Honorable Floor Leader?
In behalf of the majority, we accept the amendment. So moved.
Since there is no objection, the amendment is approved. The Honorable Defensor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last, on page 1, sections 5, lines 17 to 21, delete the entire provision and in lieu thereof, substitute the following, open quote, section 5, the Secretary of the DOH shall immediately include the department's program, the implementation of this act, the funding of which shall be included in the annual General Appropriations Act, end quote.
What is the response of the Honorable Sponsor to the proposed amendment?
I accept, Mr. Speaker.
The amendment is accepted by the sponsor. May we wish to know the pleasure of the House through the Honorable Floor Leader.
In behalf of the majority, we accept, Mr. Speaker. So moved.
The amendment is accepted. If there is no objection, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have no further individual amendments.
The Honorable Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
May we now, the Chair will now recognize the Majority Floor Leader. What is the pleasure on the pending bill?
Mr. Speaker, there being no other committee nor individual amendment, I move that we close altogether the period of amendments.
There being no member who wants to propose amendments, there's a motion to close the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr.
Please
Speaker,
proceed.
I move that we approve on second reading House Bill 8955.
There is a motion to approve House Bill number 8955 on second reading. As many are as in favor, please say aye. Aye. As many are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8955 is, as amended, is approved on second reading. Please proceed, the Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we authorize Deputy Speaker and Deputy Majority Leader Juan Pablo Rimpi Bondoc to act on measures referred to the House for their inclusion in the calendar of business. So moved.
There's a motion. Is there an objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Floor Leader.
I move that we resume consideration on second reading of House Bill 8736 as contained in Committee Report 753 and direct the Secretary General to read the title of that measure. So moved.
The Secretary General is so directed. Please proceed.
House Bill number 8736, an act establishing a rental housing subsidy program for informal settler families in appropriating funds therefore.
The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the status of the said measure is that it is in the period of sponsorship and debate. I move that we recognize the distinguished chairperson of the Committee on Housing and Urban Development, the Honorable Kiko Benitez, to sponsor the said measure. So moved.
We now proceed with the period of sponsorship and debate. The sponsoring committee, the sponsor of the chairman of the Housing and Urban Committee, the Honorable Representative Francisco Kiko Benitez, is recognized. Please proceed, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, it is the pleasure of this representation to present for the consideration of this august chamber House Bill number 8736, or an act establishing a rental housing subsidy program for informal settler families and appropriating funds therefore. This measure has been deliberated intensively by the Committee on the Housing and Urban Development, with the support of at least 104 authors and co-authors. The wide support for this bill manifests the necessity of this measure, which has become urgent in the face of economic stress caused by the pandemic, that has shrunk further the low income of the poor, further obscuring their prospect of economic or social mobility, and increased their difficulties in finding decent homes. The case has been worse for families affected by recent typhoons that have flooded or damaged their houses. 3 decades since the enactment of Republic Act number 7279, or the Urban Development and Housing Act, homelessness continues to be an enormous challenge. Population growth and rural to urban migration are driving higher demand for housing in cities. As competition over limited space increases, the cost of land rises, making housing unaffordable for many Filipinos. Many are forced to live in the margins of the city, in idle spaces, in the streets, under bridges, along waterways, all exposing them to health and environmental hazards. The most recent estimate places the number of informal settler families in the country at 1.9 million. 45% of them live in disaster-prone areas or danger zones, aggravating the precariousness of their living conditions. Development projects and the clearing of danger zones threaten to displace many of these families. Section 28 of Republic Act 7279, or the UDHA, requires adequate relocation for families affected by eviction or demolition due to government infrastructure projects and the clearing of waterways and disaster zones. However, due to bureaucratic red tape, the development of resettlement sites and construction of housing units typically take 2 to 4 years to commence, let alone be completed. In the interim, informal settler families affected by government programs should be given financial assistance to rent decent housing units. We understand that this is a stopgap measure, but providing subsidies to displaced ISFs to access available housing units, this program broadens the options for low-income families. Poor families cannot afford to obtain housing loans, and their income generally cannot cover the payment of monthly amortizations. They will then have, through this program, the option to temporarily rent a housing unit with assistance from the government until they have developed the financial capacity for home ownership, or the sites for their resettlements are ready to be occupied. This is consistent with the spirit of Republic Act 11201. Section 20 of the implementing rules and regulation of this landmark legislation that created the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development mandates the formulation of public housing policies and programs that explore and recognize alternative, innovative solutions to addressing the country's housing needs, such as different tenurial instruments, including rental housing, particularly for those who have experienced calamities and disasters and awaiting more permanent housing arrangements. No less than President Rodrigo Roa Duterte recognized this in his 5th State of the Nation address. President Duterte called for Congress to pass a rental housing subsidy to, and I quote, enable all Filipinos, regardless of social status, to live in decent homes where their families can lead meaningful lives, close quote. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, it is thus that the approval of the Rental Housing Subsidy Program Act is a major step in addressing the problem of homelessness and in the improvement of the quality of life of our people. In behalf of the 104 authors and co-authors and the Committee on Housing and Urban Development, I urge this august body to approve House Bill number 8736. Thank you, kag madamo gid na salamat sa inyo tanan.
The Honorable Floor Leader. Are still in the period of sponsorship.
All right. So, Mr. Speaker, first to interpolate the sponsor is the distinguished lady from Gabriela Party List. I move that we recognize Congresswoman Arlene Brosas. So moved.
Is there any objection if we proceed to the period of interpellation? Chair hears none. Motion is approved. The Honorable Brosas is recognized for her interpellation. The sponsoring committee, the Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Francisco Kiko Benitez, will answer the interpellation. The Honorable Brosas is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, will the good sponsor of the bill yield to a few questions, Mr. Speaker?
Definitely, Mr. Speaker. You are welcome to ask any questions, Congresswoman Brosas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, bagamat kailangan natin, kailangan ng ating mga maralitang kababayan ng anumang forma ng tulong, lalo sa pagtustos sa pagbabayad sa upa, hindi dapat nakatuntong ang tulong na ito sa pagpapalayas sa kanila. Kaya naman sa panukalang rental subsidy na ito, nais naming klaruhin ang pangunahing layunin at direksyon ng programang ito. Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor. Didiretso na po ako kung saan ang mga section kung saan ay meron kaming mga tanong, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor. Nakasaad po sa Section 4 ng panukala na option itong rental subsidy para i-address temporary relocation of displaced families due to natural and man-made disasters. Ano po ba yung tinutukoy na natural and man-made disasters sa probisyong ito? Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, the temporary relocation of displaced families due to natural and man-made disasters envisions na yung pag meron hong bagyo, merong hong national disasters na ganong sanhi po ng climate change, halimbawa, or binaha sila, at kailangan po silang ilipat o di kaya nakatira sila sa danger zone. Isa pong natural disaster po yon. Kuminsan naman po, ang man-made disaster ay dahil din sa pagkakamali or dahil po sa mga programa ng infrastructure, halimbawa ng gobyerno, kung saan para po sa ikabubuti ng mas nakararami, ang iba po ay kailangang i-relocate temporarily. Yun po ang intention po ng definition na yon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor. Bagamat may ganyan pong criteria sa target na displaced families, nakasaad naman sa Declaration of Policy sa Section 2 na polisiya ng Estado na protektahan ang urban poor mula sa impact of immediate dislocation due to eviction and demolition arising from government projects. Paano po ito i-reconcile yung Section 2 at Section 4 ng panukalang batas? Sino ba talaga yung target na bigyan ng rental subsidy dito? Kasi po, di ba, parang pag sinabi nyo natural and man-made, kasama ba dito yung mga proyekto ng gobyerno kung saan pinapaalis ang mga informal settler families, di ba? So, paano nyo po ito i-reconcile yung Section 2 and Section 4? Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, there is nothing in the proposed measure that absolves anyone from the proper procedures already in the laws before anyone can have eviction notices or their homes demolished. May proseso po na mahaba-haba at hindi po nire-repeal o inaamenduhan ng any provision dito ang ganong klaseng procedure at protocol. Ang nakalagay lang po dito ay pagkatapos po na masunod ang karapat-dapat na programa at proseso kung kailangan po nila ng subsidiya para tulungan sila makahanap ng temporary relocation. This law institutionalizes some of the current already ongoing practices. It does not in any way, ma'am, repeal or decrease the commitment of the state to protect them from eviction or demolition that are already in the laws. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, gusto ko lang pong sabihin na case in point, maganda po siyang pakinggan no? Pero sa actual po sa baba, like for example, sa Bitas Katuparan, kung saan po pumunta ako ng nakaraan para makita kung paano yung aktual na sinasabi niyong proseso na pinagdaraanan ng mga maralita. In fact, doon ko nakita na isa lang yung CR. Isa lang po yung CR para sa 20 to 30 families na inilipat at inilikas dahil dinemolish yung bahay ng mga taga-Tondo sa Riverside. At meron pang mga natitira na bahay kung saan marami pang nakatira na ililipat. Sa panahon po ng pandemya, nagde-demolish. Now, I understand, sinasabi ninyo may proseso, may court order, may ganito. Pero, di ba, ito po yung katunayan na sa aktual, yung mga kababayan natin, sumisiksik sila, wala silang mapuntahan, nandoon sila, wala silang, ang sinabi sa kanila, bibigyan lang sila ng 8,000 at lumipat na sila, bahala na sila sa buhay nila. Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, yung sinasabi po ninyo na ganyan, actually na pagpapalipat sa kanila, demolition po ang equal nito sa ating mga mamamayan. Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor.
Mr. Speaker,
Now,
sorry, akala ko po tapos na kayo. Sige po, makikinig po kami.
Sige, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, baka meron po kayong gustong sabihin pa.
Mr. Speaker, just to respond, malinaw naman po siguro na ang problema ng demolisyon at eviction ay malaking problema po sa ating mga informal settler families, lalo na kung hindi sinusunod ang nasa batas. Sa pagkakaalam ko po, kaya po tayo nagkaroon ng mga hearings tungkol sa housing crisis, dapat sila ay may mapupuntahan at may mapatutunguhan. Pangalawa po, meron po tayong mga resolution for inquiries sa Committee ng Housing po para siguraduhin po yung mga ganyang klaseng demolition or eviction na nangyayari sa kasalukuyan ay masubaybayan po ng Kongreso as is appropriate for its oversight function. Pero iba po yan na issue dito sa batas na ating tinutulak sa araw na ito. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, naiintindihan ko po yung pagnanais ninyo na ipaliwanag kung paano sa gustong pamamaraan na magkaroon talaga ng rental subsidy at makatulong ito sa mga ISFs. Pero sa actual po sa baba, gusto nating makita kung paano ito nag-ooperate talaga, o mag-ooperate sa baba. Sa Section 8 po, B, nakasaad, nakabilang sa responsibilidad ng NHA ang pakikipag-ugnayan sa DPWH at DOTR, kaugnay ng mga pamilyang dapat kagyat na i-relocate. Now, we assume na target dito ang mga pamilyang nakatira sa mga pagtatayuan ng mga proyekto ng DPWH at DOTR. Tama po ba, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sponsor?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, tama po.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sponsor, kung gayon, hindi akma na gamitin yung natural and man-made disasters sa Section 4 dahil sa actual demolition ang tinutukoy nito, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor.
Hindi pa rin po ata tayo nagkakaintindihan, Mr. Speaker. The purpose still of the bill is upon proper procedures, kung sila ay kailangan pong ilipat, ay bibigyan po sila ng subsidiya at ayuda habang sila'y naghihintay for their more permanent resettlement. Yun lang naman po ang nakalagay sa batas na ito.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. So, ibig sabihin, natural, man-made at mga proyekto ng gobyerno, ng DPWH, DOTR, etc. Yun po, kasama yon sa sinasabi natin na dinedefine po ninyo na papaalisin or bibigyan ng rental subsidy, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor.
Opo.
Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, nakaasaad din sa Section 4 na ang target na paglipatan ng mga maralita ay formal housing market. Ano po yung tinutukoy na formal housing market? Bakit hindi po kasama dito yung informal housing market?
Kasi po ang pinag-usapan po sa committee during the TWG and the committee hearings is kailangan po kasi na disente at adequate ang housing na kanilang inuupahan din kung sakali. Kaya po ang gusto ng DSUD masigurado na ang formal housing market ay siyang mapupuntahan ng subsidiya para po yung leakage ng pera ng subsidy ng gobyerno ay mapupunta, yung pera ng gobyerno ay mapupunta dun sa karapat-dapat na puntahan. Hindi po siya maging subject to leakage. At ang pabahay na mapupuntahan ng ating mga informal settler families, kung sakali sila ay maging eligible and they avail of the program, ay sapat din at disente sa kanilang pangangailangan. Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, ano ba yung category ninyo ng formal housing market? Para po maliwanagan yung mga kababayan natin dito.
I believe in the sense of a formal housing market, dapat meron silang kasulatan, meron silang kontrata, may assessment as to whether or not the housing is decent by the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. Now, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, sa Section 4 po, sa Rental Housing Subsidy Program, it states that ISFs will receive a flat rate subsidy of 3,500 pesos. Hindi po ba masyadong maliit ito?
Ma'am, yes, that was also discussed in the TWG na ito po ay subsidy lang, hindi po full rent na ibibigay. And this is pegged on the average rental rates and the average amount of that the ISFs are paying in current informal settlements based on government census. So ito po yung ang binasihan para po merong man lang maiabot na tulong ang gobyerno sa ating mga informal settlers. And ito po ay subject pa rin sa review every 2 years kung magpalit po ang average rental costs. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, ang mangyayari kasi dito, aalis yung maralita sa komunidad, di ba? Kung saan siya kasalukuyang naninirahan. Yung 3,500 na subsidy, sapat na ito kung sa loob ng komunidad. Halimbawa, sa isang community ng informal sector, pag-usapan natin ang tondo. Sa loob ng tondo, 3,500 magre-renta ka, sapat yun. Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. Pero kung sa labas, hindi yun sasapat. So sinasabi niyo po kanina, partly pwedeng subsidy lang talaga ito, hindi ito full rent, no? Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. Sa labas ng komunidad, tumataas yung renta, tapos may mga down payment na hinihingi. Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. Now, naniniwala ba ang sponsor na kayang magbayad ng isang informal sector, ISF, ng rental rates sa labas ng informal settlements? Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor.
Hindi nga ho niya kaya nga ho siya binibigyan ng subsidy. But I think the intent is that with the subsidy, baka kakayanin na nila. Yun po ang hope ng panukalang batas. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, ang katotohanan po, no, pag pinag-usapan natin sa mga lugar kung saan nakatira, no, yung mga maralita, yung trabaho nila doon din. Halimbawa, sa junk shop, halimbawa, pedicab driver, halimbawa, sa pier, no, stibidor o nagtatrabaho sa kargador. Hindi sa ganitong sitwasyon, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, hindi talaga sasapat even yung sinasabi na bigyan ng rental subsidy yung ating mga kababayan. Kasi kapag lumayo na sila sa kanilang lugar, magkakaroon na yun ng transportation cost. Magkakaroon na yun ng transportation cost kapag lumayo na, no, sa kanilang lugar. Hindi ma-afford ng mga maralita, no, na lumabas minsan sa kanilang komunidad dahil doon nga sila ipinagsiksikan. Case in point po, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor. Sa Bitas, Katuparan, sila po ay nanggaling sa mga dinemolish na ng mga lugar. No? Ginawan po ng tenement 3 decades ago, 30 years ago. Ngayon, sa mga tenements po na yan, from building 1 to 28, ang mga nakatira po dyan ay, sasabihin ko na sa inyo yung totoo, hindi kakayanin na mag-upa o bigyan ng upa na 3,500 lang para lumabas doon sa lugar nila dahil yung trabaho nila ay nandoon sa loob. No? Malapit lang, hindi talaga nila yon kaya. Yun naman ang mga sinasabi nila, no, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor. So, ibig sabihin, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, yung mga ganitong sitwasyon, no, na tatanggalin sila sa kanilang lugar at maglalagay ng high-rise, no, na halimbawa na building, tapos ililipat sila doon, pwedeng pabalikin sila, pero can they afford it? Diba? After, kung gagawin ulit yun, at pansamantala, magrarenta sila ng 3,500 sa labas. And remember, may pandemya ngayon, ang hirap magpaupa nang hindi alam kung sino yung nakakatakot po kasi kahit sa tonto nag-spike din yung mga nag-spike din diyan ang mga cases ng ng COVID-19. So Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, napakahirap isipin na bibigyan lang sila ng 3,500 para lumabas sa kanilang lugar at kanilang pinaghahanap buhay, no? Kanilang bahay. Tapos, iba pa yan sa magiging census o survey ng NHA kasi sabi nga natin, pwedeng isang pamilya lang, samantalang minsan may sharer na isa, dalawa, tatlo pamilya sa loob ng isang unit. So, may mga ganun pang komplikasyon, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor. Kaya, naniniwala ba tayo na kapag binigyan natin sila ng ganyang rental rates, lalo na sa mga informal settlements, okay na yung kalagayan nila, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor?
Mr. Speaker, mukha pa rin pong magkaiba ang aming mga premises ni Congresswoman Brosas, no? Ito po ay para sa rental subsidy lamang at hindi po para sa buong upa, unang-una. Pangalawa, hindi lang naman po ito ang parte ng programa ng relocation at resettlement. Mas malawak pa po ang programa ng gobyerno dyan. At the same time, the bill recognizes the need, no, to help provide livelihood, no, as part of a solution para po sa ating mga relocated informal settler families. Kaya nga po ay may provision, no, for the TESDA, for example, to provide skills training to members of the household or the beneficiary households. Mr. Speaker. Hindi
Okay,
po
Mr.
nila, hindi
Speaker,
po kasi, Mr. Speaker, hindi po hinahangad ng programa na ito na mabubuhay sila sa 3,500 kada buwan at sa dun lang sa ganong klaseng subsidiyan ng gobyerno.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, salamat po sa pagsagot sa tanong. Komplikado po kasi yung usapin ng mga ISFs natin, and you're saying na ang target ay mga ISFs. Usually po yung mga DPWH, yung mga DOTR projects, sumasagasa po yan sa mga talagang mga maralita yung mga area, no? Okay lang po yung mga medyo may kaya pang magbahay talaga, no, or lumipat or ganyan. Ang inaalala po natin ay yung mga tunay, no, na talagang walang-wala na. Minsan kahit na yung rental subsidy tatanggapin nila yan dahil wala na silang mapupuntahan o wala na silang makukuhanan ng kahit anong pangkain, no? Kasi yun na nga ang basic problem nila, pangkain pa lang pagkatapos ililipat pa sila ng lugar, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, sa huling committee hearing, pinag-usapan na rin natin, sabi niyo po kasi merong mga iba pang programa, no, yung gobyerno. Di pag-usapan po natin na umamin yung NHA na hindi sila sigurado kung may supply tayo ng low-cost housing na kayang bayaran ng mahihirap. Sa laki po ng housing backlog, kaya ba ng kasalukuyang supply ng low-cost housing ito? Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, once again, I think that is outside the scope of what this bill is actually about. Ang backlog po ng housing units, ng NHA, no, at ng housing sector as a whole ay iba pong issue na sa totoo lang tama po si Congresswoman Brosas. Kulang po ang pondo ng gobyerno at kulang po ang ating current housing units. Kaya nga, part of this program was to allow the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development to explore perhaps rental subsidies as stopgap measures, no, for the necessity of decent and adequate housing needs. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, pwede pong itanong sa inyo sa mga low-cost housing ba sa Metro Manila kung saan maraming maralita at ang nagtatrabaho at nangungupahan. Meron ba talaga, no, na ginawa ang NHA for the low-cost housing? Enough ba yun? Yung low-cost housing na programa ng NHA sa Metro Manila para sa mga maralita na nagtatrabaho at nangungupahan dito? Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, once again, I will repeat myself. Obviously, ma'am, kulang po. Kulang na kulang. Kaya po kailangan nating dagdagan. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, punta na po ako sa punto ng, again, sa Section 4, magkakaugnay naman po ang lahat ng ito kasi hindi po pwedeng ihiwalay ang rental subsidy na bill sa usapin ng gaano ba karami talaga yung pangangailangang housing ng ating mga mahihirap. Kung hindi, magtatapon lang po tayo ng magtatapon ng mga maralita at hindi rin nila kakayanin yung magkabahay dito sa urban area o sa kung nasaan sila ngayon at lalo lang magiging cycle ng paghihirap para sa ating mga maralita yung ganito. Kasi sisiksik sila kung saan naroon ang kanilang hanap buhay at trabaho. Mr. Speaker, nakita na natin yan sa napakaraming housing mga iba pa no na housing project halimbawa sa labas ng Maynila kung saan bumabalik yung ibang mga maralita dahil kailangan nilang magtrabaho, maghanap ng trabaho at kung nasan sila, walang trabaho. Minsan nga wala pang tubig, minsan walang kuryente, no? Kahit po pag-usapan natin kung maaalala ko nung panahon ng Ondoy, ganyan no? Ganyan yung naging problema na hanggang ngayon hindi pa rin naman nare-resolve ang mga ganyang problema kahit sa mga housing projects na nakatiwangwang sa kasalukuyan, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. Now, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, kaugnay po doon sa subsidy shall be granted to eligible beneficiaries until the date of completion of the permanent housing. If in case there is a delay, the subsidy shall be extended. Hindi po ba mas praktikal sa gobyerno kung papatayuan sila at bigyan ng pabahay sa NHA property sa lungsod kaysa bigyan ng pang-upa kung long term natin ito titignan? Kasi di ba parang mas malaki yung gagastusin mo dahil nagsasubsidize ka ng pang-upa nila for how many years, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor?
Mr. Speaker, yes, ma'am. I would like to respond on two levels to the query of Congresswoman Brosas. Ang unang-una po, tama po kayo. I completely agree. Kulang na kulang po ang ating mga housing units, lalo na in order to address the needs of our informal settler families. Pero ito pong problema ng housing ay masalimuot at marami pong sanga-sanga. No? Wala po sa panukalang batas na ito ang sufficient manner to address the entire backlog and need for housing of our population. Ito po ay isang maliit lamang na slice, no, a small stopgap step in a larger comprehensive approach. Hindi naman po kaila kay Congresswoman Brosas na tayo po ay pumasa ng on-site in-city prioritization bill para sa housing. Yung una. Pangalawa, ito pong rental subsidy shall be extended ay ang usapan po sa committee, no, ay ito ay isang parang multa, no, particularly sa NHA at sa kanyang mga contractors kung delayed ang kanilang projects. Kasi halimbawa, sa Pasig, meron hong NHA program at project na supposedly 8 to 10 years na po silang delayed. So for the last 8 to 10 years, yung mga informal settlers po na naghihintay ng kanilang permanent housing ay hindi po nabigyan ng subsidiya man lang. Hanggang ngayon, nagbabayad pa rin po sila ng upa. No? So the committee deemed it fit that the NHA specifically, but even the government agency in general, responsible for making sure, no, that the permanent housing resettlement is finished within 5 years. Kung hindi po, dapat hindi mawalan ng subsidiya ang mga ISFs na naghihintay po ng kanilang permanent unit. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng provision na yon, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. Follow-through question lang doon, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. Marami-rami din kasi yung NHA properties, no, na naka-long-term lease sa malalaking negosyo. Usapin po ito ng imbis na pinatayuan ng bahay, kagaya na lang po sa North Triangle, no? Ang punto dito, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, kung ISF ang pinag-uusapan na karamihan ay walang regular na trabaho at prioridad sa gastusin ay pangkain, mas maigi na awarded sa kanila ang proyekto. Kung rental subsidy, baka mas applicable nga po ito. Tama po yun kasi sabi nyo, stopgap measure to Mas applicable ito sa mga may regular na trabaho na nangungupahan para mapalapit sa lugar ng trabaho nila. Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not certain there was a question in Congress
Mr.
Woman
Speaker, Ginoong
Processes.
Sponsor, sinasabi lang natin na kasi kanina, imbis na bigyan ng pang-upa, ang sabi natin, mas practical na patayuan. O bigyan, yung sabi niyo po kanina, yung in-city relocation, di ba? Yun yung gusto natin para sa ISFs kasi ang uunahin nga nila ay pangkain, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, I completely agree with Congresswoman Brosas. Tama po kayo. Hindi lang po on-site and in-city ang ating pinag-uusapan. Pinag-uusapan din po natin sa committee no, na ang mga government idle lands or idle government lands ay pwede rin sanang gamitin. Alinsunod sa constitutional urban land reform no, na nasa constitution po natin para po rin mabigyan ng tulong ang ating mga mamamayan. Tama po kayo. Agreed na agreed po ako. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, sa Section 6 po, no? Section 6.
Yes, ma'am.
Ang tinitiyak ba nito ay makakabayad ng upa ang mga mahihirap? Malinaw po sa letter B na ang matitiyak lamang dito sure income po ito para sa mga so-called private rental market, pero hindi pagtitiyak na makakabayad ng upa ang ISF. Dahil hindi naman ito full subsidy, sabi niyo nga kanina. Hindi rin government-owned ang structure, kaya ang kikitain, hindi rin babalik sa gobyerno para makatulong sa pagpondo ng iba pang housing programs, kundi subsidy siya sa private housing. At kung merong real estate na nagbi-business dito, sa kanila yun mapupunta, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. Pakilinaw lang po, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Speaker, the law provides, as proposed, that the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development shall create a list, no, of lessors that they will accredit to allow for this subsidy. Some of those lessors may be public rental housing units or may be private housing units. Ito po, balikan ko lang, ang dalawa pong nasabi na rin ni Congresswoman Brosas. Unang-una, ito po ay partial subsidy, hindi po full subsidy. At ikalawa, ito po ay stopgap measure lamang. Dahil po kulang nga ang units no, na pwede nating ipamigay sa ating informal settler families, we are required, I suppose is the right word, no, or depend upon partly what might be considered public rental housing units kung meron man, at kung wala po, it will have to be private sector housing units. Yes po, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor. Totoo na sa pribado, no, mapupunta, no, yung pagkita o yung pagtiyak na makakabayad, no? Kasi hindi naman babalik sa government unless government owned yung mga structures na yon. Kaya po nga kanina sinasabi natin na it will be better talaga, lalo na kung ISF ang target, ay magkaroon talaga ng NHA na housing program na in-city, no? Kaya nag-agree po tayo doon sa point na yun. At yun talaga yung pangangailangan. At yun yung nakakarami, no? Kasi mga ISFs nga yung tinatamaan ng mga DPWH na DOTR projects na marami-rami na nakalinya sa ngayon. Now, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, may mga points naman tayo na pinag-aagrihan dito. At alam ko, sinabi nyo kanina, malinaw, stopgap measure. Pero baka kasi, imbes na makatulong, in the long run, ay mas hirapan lalo yung mga mahihirap o maralita nating mga mamamayan. Now, Mr. Speaker, Ginoong Sponsor, maganda yung intensyon ng batas na ito na makapagbigay alwan sa mga maralitang mahihirap makapagbayad ng lumulobong upa sa kabila ng tumataas na presyo ng bilihin at kawalan ng ayuda mula sa gobyerno. Maganda rin yung intensyon ng rental subsidy bill, pero sa tunay na buhay, kailangan din natin aralin ang housing issues talaga ng Maralita. Mahalaga na nalilinaw kung sino ang target ng beneficiary ng rental subsidy na panukala dahil maaaring pabalat lang yung nakasaad na natural and man-made disasters sa actual demolition, bunga ng mga government projects talaga. Walang problema, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, kung ang nais tulungan ng panukala ay ang mga informal settlers na dislocate dahil apektado ng pananalasa ng bagyo, lindol o pagsabog ng ulan. Wala ring problema kung rental subsidy ito sa pangkalahatan at walang itinatakdang kondisyon gaya ng pagbabawal na bumalik sa pinaglikasan nila. Kung maaari pa man din silang bumalik kung saan sila, 'di ba, pinaalis. Subalit ibang usapin kung gagamitin ang rental subsidy para mas lalong magkaroon ng dislokasyon ng mga Maralita dahil sa tinatawag na danger zones. Diba? Yun naman usually yung sinasabi, danger zone, kaya kailangan paalisin kayo dyan, lilimasin kayo dyan. Na nagiging palusot, no? Dahil sa pagtatayo ng mga government projects tulad ng mga proyektong pang-infrastruktura, Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor. Kaya, yun na po yung panghuli, no? Na nais namin sabihin na itong rental subsidy, maganda ang intensyon, pero baka mas kakailanganin o pag-aralan ng mabuti yung iba't ibang housing issues ng ating mga Maralita para makatulong sa ating mga mamamayan. Yung buong housing issues ng Maralita po at hindi lang itong gusto nating stopgap measure ng rental subsidy bill. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Maraming salamat, ginong sponsor.
Maraming salamat po, Congresswoman Brosas. Tama po kayo and I fully agree we need a comprehensive solution. Ito po ay isang lamang hakbang maliit man, no, para ating matugunan ang ating housing crisis sa Pilipinas. Salamat po, Mr. Speaker.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Floor Leader?
Mr. Speaker, there being no other member who wishes to interpolate the honorable sponsor, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate. So move.
There is a motion to close the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
There's a motion to open the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears no objection. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee nor individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
There being no amendment proposed, I would like to ask if there are any objection. We now close the period of amendments. If there is none, the motion is approved.
Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill 8736.
There is a motion to approve House Bill number 8736 on second reading, an act establishing a rental housing subsidy program for informal settlers, families, and appropriating funds therefore. As many as are in favor, say aye.
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 As many are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8736 is approved on second reading. The Honorable Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 8970 as contained in Committee Report number 843. May I request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill.
The Secretary General is directed to read 8970.
House Bill number 8970, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Meridian Telecoms Incorporated, presently known as Smart Broadband Incorporated, under Republic Act number 8337, entitled an act granting the Meridian Telecoms Incorporated a franchise to construct, install, establish, maintain, lease, and operate wire and or wireless telecommunication systems throughout the Philippines.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate for House Bill number 8970.
There's a motion to open the period of sponsorship and debates for House Bill 8970. The sponsoring committee is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the sponsor of the bill, the Honorable Gentleman from the 1st District of Palawan, Honorable Franz Alvarez, to sponsor House Bill 8970.
The chairperson of the Committee on Legislative Franchises sponsoring committee is hereby recognized. The Honorable Representative Franz Alvarez. Please
Speaker,
proceed, Your Honor.
may I request that the explanatory note be entered as the sponsorship speech?
Mr. Speaker, there is a motion from the sponsor to adopt the explanatory note as the sponsorship of House Bill number 8970. We pose no objection, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion to adopt the explanatory note as the sponsorship speech of the Honorable Chairman of the Legislative Franchises, and there is no objection. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
There's a motion to close the period of sponsorship and debates. Is there any objection? Chair is none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
The motion to open the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair is none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee and individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The period of amendments is hereby closed.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8970.
There is a motion to approve on second reading House Bill 8970. As many as are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
As many are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8970 is approved on second reading. Honorable Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 8971 as contained in Committee Report number 844. May I request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill?
The Secretary General is directed to read the title of 8971. Please proceed.
House Bill number 8971, an act granting ISMO Incorporated a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain telecommunication systems in the Philippines.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
There's a motion to open the period of sponsorship and debate. There in objection, Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the sponsor of the bill, the Honorable Franz Alvarez.
The sponsoring committee, the Honorable Chairman of the Legislative Franchises, the Honorable Representative Franz Alvarez, is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, may I request that the sponsorship speech be entered, the explanatory note be entered as the sponsorship speech?
There's a motion to register the explanatory note as his sponsorship speech. There in objection, Chair is none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no interpelators for House Bill 8971, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
There's a motion to close the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair is none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
There's a motion to open the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair is none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no individual and committee amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Considering that there is no individual and committee amendments and there is no objection, the period of amendments is hereby closed.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8971.
There's a motion to approve on second reading House Bill number 8971. As many as are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
As many are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8971 is approved on second reading.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 8972 as contained in Committee Report 845. May I request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill?
The Secretary General is directed to read the title.
House Bill number 8972, an act granting FICTAP Telecommunications Incorporated a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain telecommunication services within the Philippines and with international points.
Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
There's a motion to open the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the sponsor of the bill, the Honorable Franz Alvarez.
The sponsoring committee chairman, the Honorable Representative Franz Alvarez, is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, may I again request that the explanatory note be entered as the sponsorship speech.
There's a motion to register as his sponsorship speech, the explanatory note of this bill. Is there any motion? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no interpellators for House Bill number 8972, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
There's a motion to close the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
There's a motion to open the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee and individual amendments for House Bill 8972, I move that we close the period of amendments.
There's a motion to close the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8972.
There's a motion to approve House Bill 8972 on second reading. As many as are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
As many as are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8972 is approved on second reading. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 8973 as contained in Committee Report number 846, and may request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill.
Please proceed, Secretary General.
House Bill number 8973, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Nation Broadcasting Corporation of the Philippines under Republic Act number 8623, entitled An Act Granting the Nation Broadcasting Corporation a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain radio and television broadcasting stations in the Philippines.
The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
There's a motion to open this period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair is none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the sponsor of the bill, the Honorable Franz Alvarez.
The Honorable Sponsor, Representative Franz Alvarez, Chairman of the Committee on Legislative Franchises, is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the explanatory note be entered as the sponsorship speech.
There's a motion to register or include as the sponsoring speech the explanatory note of the said bill. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no interpellators for House Bill number 8973, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
There's a motion to close the period of sponsorship and debates. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
There's a motion to open the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no individual and committee amendments on House Bill number 8973, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion, the period of amendments is hereby closed.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8973.
There is a motion to approve on second reading House Bill 8973. As many as are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
As many as are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8973 is approved on second reading. The Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 8976 as contained in Committee Report number 849, and may request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill.
The Secretary General is so directed.
House Bill number 8976, an act granting FICTAP Radio Broadcasting Network, Incorporated, a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain radio and television broadcasting and cable television stations throughout the Philippines.
The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
There's a motion to open the period of sponsorship and debates. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the sponsor of the bill, the Honorable Franz Alvarez.
The Honorable Chairman of the Committee on Legislative Franchises, the Honorable Franz Alvarez, is recognized.
Speaker, may I move that the explanatory note be entered as his sponsorship speech?
There's a motion to include in the records his explanatory note as the sponsorship speech. If there are any objection, Chair hears none, motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no interpellators for House Bill number 8976, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
There is a motion to close the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
There's a motion to open the period of amendments. Chair, is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee and individual amendments for House Bill number 8976, I move that we close the period of amendments.
There is a motion to close the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8976.
There is a motion to approve House Bill 8976 on second reading. As many as are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
As many are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8976 is approved on second reading. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 8977 as contained in Committee Report 850, and may I request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill.
The Secretary General is so directed.
House Bill number 8977, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to GV Broadcasting System Incorporated, presently known as Signal TV Incorporated, under Republic Act number 8169 as amended by Republic Act number 8591, entitled an act amending Republic Act number 8169, entitled an act granting GV Broadcasting System Incorporated a franchise to construct, install, maintain, and operate for commercial purposes radio broadcasting stations in the island of Luzon and for other purposes.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Floor Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
There is a motion to open the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the sponsor of the bill, the Honorable Franz Alvarez.
There is a motion to recognize the Honorable Alvarez. Please proceed, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the explanatory note be entered as his sponsorship speech.
There's a motion to enter into the records the explanatory note of the bill as his sponsorship speech. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no interpellators for House Bill number 8977, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
There is a motion to close the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
There's a motion to open the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee and individual amendments for House Bill number 8977, I move that we close the period of amendments.
There is a motion to close the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8977.
There is a motion to approve House Bill 8977 on second reading. As many as are in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
As many are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8977 is approved on second reading. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 8817 as contained in Committee Report 769. And may I request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill.
The Secretary General is so directed to read the title of the bill.
House Bill number 8817, an act providing protection for freelance workers.
Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
There is a motion to open the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Chairman of the Committee on Labor and Employment, the gentleman from Party List Pacman, the Honorable Enrico A. Pineda, for his sponsorship speech.
The sponsoring chairman, committee chairman of the Labor and Employment Committee, Representative Enrico Pineda, is recognized. Zoom. The Honorable Pineda is recognized via Zoom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, may I first sincerely thank the authors, Representatives Joey Sarte Salceda, Alfred Vargas, Eduardo Brother Eddie Villanueva, Domingo Rivera, Christopher de Venecia, Victor Yap, and Luis Raymond L. Rey Villaferte Jr. for espousing House Bills numbered 1527, 2019, 3219, 3951, 6132, and 7790, which the Committee on Labor and Employment has submitted under Committee Report number 769 for consideration of the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, it must be underscored that in recent years, there has been significant growth in technological advancement together with the modifications in the pattern and standards in employment that gave rise to a new sector in the workforce called freelance workers. Some freelancers work in movie productions, the media outfits, music, and entertainment industries, and other similar jobs. Some of them are in the business of process outsourcing, academic sector, and graphic design, to name a few from its diverse industry. Freelance workers are those who sell their works or services without a regular salary, being independent contractors. Currently, freelance workers have taken up a large-scale opportunity in the country's economy. A recent study by the University of the Philippines School of Labor and Industrial Relations, APSOLER, indicates that the Philippines rank third in terms of online freelancing in the world, next the United States and India. The Business Inquirer also forecasts that by 2027, the majority of the world's workforce will engage in freelance work. Latest data reveals that the Philippines has one of the highest freelancers per capita at around 2% of the population, where there are estimated 1.5 million Filipino freelance workers and 65% of which are women. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, this measure proposes to protect and promote the welfare of freelance workers in the country. Specifically, this measure requires a written contract between the employer and the freelance worker, covering services to be provided by the freelance worker, details of compensation and benefits, employment period, grounds for breach of contract, the freelance worker's tax identification number, and other conditions as may be directed by the Department of Labor and Employment. It also mandates the provision of NIPSI differential and hazard pay to freelance workers. Enumerated unlawful practices under this Act provides for a civil penalty of 50,000 to 500,000 for unlawful practices under this Act. Also mandates freelance workers to register with the Bureau of Internal Revenue and pay their annual income taxes. And also, it provides for information and education campaign by the DOLE in collaboration with the DTI, BIR, and LGUs on the provision of this Act. This measure acknowledges the changing landscape of how jobs are performed by granting the protection of law for the unique circumstances of freelance workers by providing protection and promoting their welfare. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, with all of the foregoing, I ask for your support for this very important measure. On behalf of the Committee on Labor and Employment, I earnestly seek the support and approval of the House of Representatives for this timely and significant piece of legislation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Majority Floor Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the gentleman from Bayan Muna Party List, the Honorable Ferdinand Gaite, for his interpellation.
The Honorable Ferdinand Gaite is recognized for his interpellation via Zoom. May we request the technical staff to please connect the Honorable Gaite.
Salamat po. Salamat po, galang-galing na speaker at sa lahat ng kasamahan natin sa Kongreso, ang lahat ng nakikinig ngayon at nunood sa ating deliberasyon hinggil sa minumungkahing panukalang batas lalo sa usapin ng ating House Bill 8817, Freelance Workers Protection Act. Matagal na talagang may batas para pangalagaan ng ating freelance workers, lalo sa panahon ng pandemya, na bunga ng kawalan ng regular o nawalan ng mga regular na sources ng ating freelance workers ay lalong nalagay sa panganib. Ngunit tulad na nabanggit nating kagalang-galang na sponsor, napapanahon na bigyan sila ng ang karapatan na ang pangangalaga ng kanilang mga karapatan at ang pag-promote ng kanilang welfare. Sa bahaging ito, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sponsor, pahintulutan ba ng ating kagalang-galang na chairperson ng ating Committee on Labor, Congressman Eric Pineda, na magkaroon ng ilang paglilinaw hinggil sa pinapanukalang batas, Mr. Speaker?
By all means, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, the Honorable Pineda, please proceed.
Salamat po. Salamat po, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Sponsor, sa pinapanukalang batas na ito, ano po yung ating kabuuang definisyon dito sa binabanggit nating freelance worker? As opposed to yung iba nating sinasabing workers, no? Meron tayong tinatawag na mga regular workers, mga wage earners, meron rin tayong mga non-regular workers, meron tayong mga informal workers, at iba pa. Ano ho bang definition natin sa freelance worker? Mr. Speaker, kagalang-galang na Congressman Eric Pineda.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague of mine, Congressman Ferdinand Gaite, yung mga freelance workers po natin, most of them are in the movie and media industry, like was entertainment. But also some are in the, sa BPO, sa mga academic sector, mga graphic design, and the likes. So ito yung talagang isang segment ng ating mga workers na kailangan talaga ng protection, especially from abuse of contract, dahil karamihan dito wala naman silang security tenure with their work. So on a project-based lahat po to. So ginawa lang po natin to ng batas para mapakalagaan po ang kanilang na hindi po sila malalagay ho sa alangan, hindi po sila maloloko ng mga kumpanya na kukunin po sila sa mga iba't ibang klaseng trabaho na mostly are being provided na by our freelance workers. Naiba po ito doon sa mga informal workers po na meron din tayong sinulong na batas para naman sa mga informal workers po natin. Kaya ito naman po sa freelancers, talagang ito po yung mga nasa mga industriya po ng, as I mentioned, sa movies, sa media, entertainment, outsourcing, and the likes, Mr. Speaker.
Salamat po, Mr. Sponsor, Mr. Speaker, sa paglilinaw hinggil sa definisyon ng freelance worker. At ayon na rin mismo sa pinapanukalang batas sa House Bill 8817, nabanggit po dito na ang freelance worker refers to any natural person or entity composed of no more than one natural person, whether incorporated under the SEC, registered as a sole proprietorship under the DTI, or registered as self-employed with the BIR, who is hired or retained to provide services in exchange for compensation as an independent contractor to work according to one's own method and without being subjected to the control of the hiring party, except only as to the results of the work. So technically, from what I glean from the definition, sila po ay hindi empleyado. Kung hindi sila po ay independent contractor na hindi subjected sa control ng hiring party, except dun lang sa dulo. Ano ba yung gustong resulta na makuha? Tama po ba yun, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sponsor?
Tama po yan, Mr. Speaker.
So kung gayon, ibig sabihin po, tulad na nabanggit nyo kanina, practically maraming profesyon sa saklaw dito. Nabanggit nyo yung media, nabanggit nyo yung TV. Pero liban doon, mapamedia, may tinatawag tayong post-production. Of course, yung ating mga artist, yung mga cultural workers, yung mga sumusulat ng script, mga researchers, at marami pang professional na tinaguri ang freelancer o freelance worker sa bansa. Tama po ba yun, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sponsor?
Tama po, Mr. Speaker.
Kung gayon, sa binabasok po yung Section 2 ng panukalang batas, tama po ba ang pangunahing layunin ng panukalang batas na ito ay ipagbawal lang ang hindi makatuwiran at walang dahilan ng pag-delay o late na pagbayad at mas malala na hindi binabayaran ng mga freelance workers? Kasi ito po yung nakalagay sa Section 2 sa Declaration of Policy sa page 2 sa line 1. Okay. Pursuant to Article 2, Section 18 and Article Mr. Chair, pwede mo ko pong pagtuloy, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sponsor. So, pursuant to Article 2, Section 18 and Article 13, Section 3 of the Philippine Constitution, it is hereby declared the policy of the state to protect the rights of workers, promote their welfare, and ensure their entitlement to humane conditions of work and just share in the fruits of production. Tapos ito po yung dinagdag. Towards this end, the state shall recognize the right of freelance workers to protection from late or non-payment of fees for services rendered. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sponsor, yun lang ba yung pangunahing layunin ng ating pinapanukalang batas in the end of protecting the rights of freelance workers, Your Honors, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sponsor?
Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, talagang that is the what this bill is providing for the protection of our freelance workers from abuse and likewise from non-payment of their contracts. But other than that, we are also encouraging our freelance workers to register with the Bureau of Internal Revenue so that they can, also pay their annual income taxes. Dahil karamihan po sa ating mga freelance workers po, wala naman ho yung mga written contract. So dito po sa ating batas na to, it is now mandated that there should be a contract between the freelancer and the company that they are going to provide services for. So in this manner, yung mga freelance workers po natin ay kailangan po mag-register sa BIR para ma-secure po yung mga tama hong mga dokumento. Not only that, but likewise we are encouraging them to register as single proprietorship entrepreneurs or as professionals para naman po kahit paano nakakatulong po sila sa ating mga kailangan pong kuliktahin, especially sa income taxes po na kailangan po na ating bansa ngayon. Mr. Speaker.
Salamat po sa paglilinaw. Kaya't sa pag-unawa ko, hindi lamang talaga yung late or non-payment of fees. At tama po yung inyong obserbasyon. Ano? Sinabi nga natin sa simula, lahat ng manggagawa, yung kahalagahan na protektahan yung kanilang mga karapatan, protecting the rights of workers, at yung state must also promote their welfare. Isinusulong natin yung kanilang kapakanan, yung kanilang kagalingan, na napakahalaga dahil yung katangian nga ng ating freelance workers na sa nakuha nga namin mga report ng mga reklamo ng galing na rin sa iba't ibang industriya ay ilang ulit silang napagsasamantalahan kahit nasa ganitong sitwasyon. Mr. Sponsor, bukod pa dito sa mahigpit na pagbabawal sa late o hindi pagbabayad ng ating mga freelance workers at yung mga nabanggit ko pong ibang proteksyon na binibigay sa kanila kung sila ay magrehistro sa Bureau of Internal Revenue, among others, ano pa po ba ang mga benepisyong ibibigay natin sa mga freelance workers sa pinapanukalang batas na ito?
Well,
Mr. Speaker.
as
Mr. Speaker, with the indulgence of the chairperson.
Yes, the Honorable Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I raise a point of order. Section 39 of Rule 9 of our House, Rules of the House of Representatives, with the indulgence of the Honorable Ferdy Gaite, who is interpellating the sponsor, Section 39 of our rule says, when a committee submits a report, a member of the committee thereof shall be presumed to have concurred with the report and shall be precluded from opposing the same during plenary debate. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Gaite is a member of the Committee on Labor. He is an author of this measure, yet he is interpolating it in debate. He was present at all committee hearings. Therefore, we presume that he is in concurrence with this measure. So, we seek the indulgence of the Honorable Gaite if we can proceed with the parliamentary procedures for the approval on second reading of the measure that he himself has authored, Mr. Speaker.
Query to the Honorable Majority Floor Leader. Is this a parliamentary inquiry or are you raising a point of order?
This is a point of order, Mr. Speaker, so we seek the indulgence of the Honorable Gaite before the Chair makes a ruling.
There is a point of order, but before the Chair will make a ruling, may we request the Honorable Gaite to please...
Yes, Mr. Chair. Bagamat totoo ako'y kasapi ng Committee on Labor, ako po ay hindi kasama sa pag-author ng naturang panukalang batas. Bagamat sa maraming pagkakataon, sa mga pagpupulong ng komite ay sinasama ang lahat, whether present or not. And if indeed ako ay naisama, then I would like the leave of the House for an interpolation of so many important aspects of the said law. Dahil tingin po na rin naman natin, gusto natin makraft ang isang batas na lilinangin natin na mabibigyang justisya ang ating mga kasamang freelance workers, lalo na sa panahon ng pandemya. Mr. Speaker.
Session is suspended for 3 minutes, after which the presiding officer will make a ruling. Are we ready? Session is resumed. The Honorable Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Gaite has made it very clear he is not a co-author of the measure and he wishes for more time to amplify his concerns. With that, we withdraw our point of order. with the begging the indulgence of our esteemed colleague that he wrap up, as there are many more legislative measures that we need to pass, along with the privileged speeches of our colleagues such as Ma'am Sandra Elago. I believe he is also in support of this measure, and we are one with him in allowing him to ventilate his issues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The withdrawal of the point of order is well taken. So, in as much as the point of order has been withdrawn, the chair will now refrain from making a ruling. The honorable floor leader is now recognized. Shall we proceed? Proceed with the interpellation, Honorable Gaite.
Salamat po, Mr. Speaker, at sa ating kagalang-galang majority floor leader sa pagkakataong ito na makapagtanong pa rin hinggil sa isang napakahalagang batas, lalo na ngayon, na gusto natin bigyan ng proteksyon ng ating freelance workers. Kanina po tinatanong ko ano pa yung mga benepisyo at paikliin ko na lang. Meron pong positibong mga provision tulad ng night differential na dati ay hindi malinaw na benepisyo ng ating freelance workers, representing 10% of one's regular compensation. Gayon din yung hazard pay, no? Alam naman natin yung freelance workers natin na nasa lagay sa mga strike-torn or embattled locations, no? Prison camps, mental hospitals, at yung pa, ay bibigyan ng karagdagang 25% ng total payment. At ito ay, we believe, are positive provisions that will help our workers. Sa totoo lang, yun lang po yung aking mga gustong idagdag pa. Pero liban dyan, gusto ko lang i-share sa inyo na kaya po marami din po kaming katanungan, meron kami mga katanungan, ay dahil nga meron na rin mga freelance workers sa media at production workers na lumapit sa kinatawang ito. Pinaka-recent, itong mga manggagawa sa quarter 1 ng DepEd TV project. Ang DepEd TV project ay isang proyekto ng Department of Education. At ito ay nag-produce ng mga TV episodes para sa distance learning bilang tugon sa COVID-19. Ang pribadong kumpanya na kinontrata ng DepEd ay ang I2 Tech na pinamumunuan apparently ni Mr. Paulo Bidiones at Marge Natividad. Sa aming pakipanayam sa kanila, marami sa kanila, apat na raan ng DepEd TV Quarter 1. Nakapaglabas na sila ng DepEd TV episodes pero apat na lang sa kanila hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa nababayaran at stake claim. Sa ilalim ng contract, marami sa manggagawang apektado ay unang nagsimulang magtrabaho sa DepEd TV project noong September pa, noong nakaraang taon. Kaya niniwala kami, Mr. Sponsor, na napakahalaga nitong batas na ito. Dahil, Mr. Sponsor, kung titignan dito sa mga nabanggit na reklamo, makikinabang ho ba yung ating mga DepEd TV media workers dito sa pinapanukalang batas under House Bill 8817, Mr. Sponsor, Mr. Speaker? Mga hindi po nabayaran ng mga freelance workers, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sponsor.
Honorable Sponsor, the sponsoring committee may respond.
Naka-mute po si...
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Ito po yung objective talaga ng itong House Bill number 8817 na maiwasan po itong mga pangyayari at mga sitwasyon na naabuso po yung ating mga manggagawa. Kaya hanggat sa lalong madaling panahon, magkaroon po tayo ng batas na ganito na kahit papano mapoproteksyonan po yung ating mga workers sa kanilang mga kapakanan. At alam po natin na nandito po sa bill na to na kung meron po dyan na hindi tumutupad, meron po siyang babayaran po na fine o civil penalty between no less than 50,000 up to 500,000 pesos. So, Mr. Speaker, talagang urgent po na maipasa ko agad itong batas na to para maiwasan po itong mga pangyayari na sinabi po ng ating kagalang-galang na Representative Gaite kahit pa paano, maiwasan na po itong ganitong pangyayari, Mr. Speaker.
Salamat po, Mr. Sponsor, Mr. Speaker. At bilang huling punto, umaasa ang tinatawang ito na may pasa sa kaputangan ito sa pinakamagang panahon ang House Bill 8817 para sa proteksyon at kagalingan ng ating mga masisipag, magigiting, minsan hindi nababayaran, pero dapat mabayaran ng mga freelance workers sa ating bansa. Salamat po, Mr. Sponsor. Salamat po, Mr. Speaker, at sa lahat ng kasama natin sa Congress.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Majority Floor Leader?
Mr. Speaker, there being no interpellators for House Bill number 8817, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
Hearing daw po, committee amendments. Kaya po.
There is motion to close the period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
There's a motion to open the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of committee amendments.
There's a motion to open the period of committee amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, may I request the sponsor to inform the Speaker if there are any committee amendments?
The honorable sponsor is recognized for their committee amendments. Via Zoom, please bear with the technology. There's a little delay in the Zoom and in the actual time here in the plenary.
Chairman Eric.
Mr. Speaker, for the committee amendments, may I state for the record the following amendment under Section 20, which would read, freelancers as defined in this Act shall be entitled to tax relief within the thresholds provided under Republic Act number 10963, otherwise known as the Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion Act, and Republic Act number 9178, otherwise known as the Barangay Micro Business Enterprises Act of 2002. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honorable floor leader.
Mr. Speaker, we join the sponsor and we pose no objection to the committee amendments. Mr. Speaker, there being no other committee amendments, may I request that the close the period of committee amendments.
Since there are no more members of this body who wish to propose amendments, there is now a motion from the floor to close the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no individual amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
There is now a motion to close the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8817.
There is a motion to approve on second reading House Bill 8817. As many as are in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
As many are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8817 is now approved on second reading. The honorable floor leader. What is the pleasure of the honorable majority floor leader? What is the next item in the agenda?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approved on final reading, House Bills number 6697, 8838, 8839, 8840, 8843, 8844, 8896, 8898, and 8900. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is directed to read the titles of the bill and thereafter call for nominal voting. The Secretary General is so directed.
House Bill Number 06697, an act declaring June 15 of every year a special non-working holiday in the city of General Santos in commemoration of its charter anniversary. House Bill Number 08838, an act declaring July 28 of every year a special non-working holiday in Cabadbaran City, province of Agusan del Norte, to be known as Cabadbaran Day in commemoration of its foundation day. House Bill Number 08839, an act declaring July 15 of every year a special non-working holiday in the Cordillera Administrative Region to be known as Cordillera Day in commemoration of its foundation day. House Bill Number 08840, an act declaring January 16 of every year a special non-working holiday in the city of Navotas in commemoration of its foundation day. House Bill Number 08843, an act declaring January 16 of every year a special non-working holiday in the municipality of Dapa, province of Surigao del Norte in celebration of its town fiesta. House Bill Number 08844, an act declaring July 31 of every year a special non-working holiday in the municipality of Tangalan, province of Aklan, to be known as Tangalan Day in commemoration of its foundation day and in honor of the bravery of local heroes of the Vivo Revolt. House Bill Number 08896, an act declaring June 28 of every year a special non-working holiday in the municipality of Brooks Point, province of Palawan, to be known as the municipality of Brooks Point Foundation Day. House Bill Number 08898, an act declaring May 15 of every year a special non-working holiday in the municipality of Quezon, province of Palawan, to be known as the Municipality of Quezon Foundation Day. And House Bill Number 08900, an act declaring September 17 of every year a special non-working holiday in the province of Siquijor, to be known as Adlaw si Siquijor in commemoration of its foundation day. Roll call of members for consideration of third reading. House Bill Numbers 06697, 08838, 08839, 08840, 08843, 08844, 08896, 08898, and 08900. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abueg Saldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Hinaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante Matba, Amatong, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Aumentado, Babasa, Bagatsing, Balindong, Banyas Nograles, Barbers, Baronda, Barzaga, Bascug, Bautista, Bautista Bandigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo, Brosas, Bulot, Bustos, Kabatbat, Cabotsan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Kawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Fredenil, Cayetano Alan Peter, Cayetano Maria Laarni, Celeste, Chato, Chipeco, Chungalao, Coangelica, Coelizalde, Coanco, Colyantes, Crisologo, Cua, Cuaresma, Cueva, Culyamat, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, De Los Santos, De Loso Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, Di Faustino Ino, Di Faustino Michael, Di Ian, Ebcas, Ecleo, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Fer Luis, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Frasco, Puentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablo John, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchelian, Gato, Heron, Goed, Go Mark, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Guriseta, Kiko, Gulyas, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Haloshos, Javier, Jimenez, Coelisa, Cowilton, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lazatin, Leachon, Legarda, Lim, Lim Kaichong, Lopez, Loyola, Lusotan, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Mangundadatu, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Momo, Natividad Naganyo, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malanyaon, Waminal, Olivares, Ong Jose, Ong Ronnie, Ordanes, Ortega, Uwanyo Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pajernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radaza, Ramirez Sato, Remulla, Revilla, Reyes, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Yeda, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Sanchez, Sangkopan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento, Saulog, Savillano, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Sinsuat, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, C. Alvarado, Taduran, Talyado, Tambunting, Tan Alaisa, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Chanco, Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupas, Tutor, T. Alan, T. Diego, Umali Alfonso, Umali Maria Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva Eduardo, Villanueva Noel, Villar, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villago, Yap Eric, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Ronaldo, Zamora Waikurat, Zarate, and Subiri. Second call of members for consideration on third reading of House Bills number 0697, 8838, 8839, 8840, 8843, 8844, 8896, 8898, and 8900. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abueg Saldivar, Abunda, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Aguinaldo, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Aragones, Arenas, Omentado, Bagaching, Banyas Nograles, Baronda, Bernos, Biazon, Bilyones, Biron, Bulot, Kabatbat, Cabredo, Kanama, Cardema, Kari, Chungalaw, Coangelica, Coelizalde, Cuanco, Colyantes, Crisologo, Cueva, Dalipe, De Jesus, Defensor Michael, Dimaporo Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, Di Faustino Ino, Enverga, Erice, Ermita Buhain, Espino, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Flores, Fortun, Fuentebella, Garin Sharon, Goed, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Sandro, Gulyas, Guya, Hataman, Hernandez, Jimenez, Cowilton, Lacson, Liachon, Lopez, Malapitan, Mangawang, Marcoleta, Mariño, Martinez, Matba, Mendoza, Mercado, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Núñez Malanyaon, Waminal, Ordanes, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pichay, Pineda, Romulo, Roque, Sagar Barria, Salceda, Sanchez, Sangkopan, Sarmiento, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, C. Alvarado, Tan Angelina, Tan Shamir, Tan Shari, Tan Shirney, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Torres Gomez, T. Alan, Uy Juliet, Valmayor, Veloso, Villar, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Yap Victor, Yu, and Subiri.
With 186 members voting in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions. House Bill number 6697, 8838, 8839, 8840, 8843, 8844, 8896, 8898, and 8900 are hereby approved on third and final reading. Honorable Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approved on third reading House Bills 8814 and 8831 regarding establishment of schools and heritage zones. And for this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the measures and thereafter to call the roll for nominal voting. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is directed to read the titles of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
House Bill number 08814, an act converting the Villa Elementary School in Barangay Villa, Municipality of Esperanza, Province of Masbate, into an integrated school to be known as the Villa Integrated School and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 08831, an act establishing a heritage zone within the city of Malabon, Metropolitan Manila. Roll call of members for consideration on third reading. House Bill numbers 08814 and 08831. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg Saldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Enaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante Matba, Amatong, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Aumentado, Babasa, Bagaching, Balindong, Banyas Nograles, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Barzaga, Bascug, Bautista, Bautista Bandigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Biazon, Bilyones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondoc, Bordado, Bravo, Brosas, Bulot, Bustos, Kabatbat, Kabuchan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castelo, Castro France, Castro Fredenil, Cayetano Alan Peter, Cayetano Maria Laarni, Celeste, Chato, Chipeco, Chungalao, Coangelica, Coelizalde, Coanco, Colyantes, Crisologo, Cua, Cuaresma, Cueva, Culyamat, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Daza, De Jesus, De Fenecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, De Los Santos, De Loso Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, Di Faustino Ino, Di Faustino Michael, Di Ian, Ebcas, Ecleo, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Frasco, Fuentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablo John, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Gato, Eron, Goed, Gomark, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Goriseta, Gico, Gulias, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Haloshos, Javier, Jimenez, Ko Elisa, Ko Wilton, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lazatin, Liachon, Ligarda, Lim, Lim Kaichong, Lopez, Loyola, Lusotan, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Mangundadatu, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Momo, Natividad Naganyo, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malanyaon, Uaminal, Olivares, Ong Jose, Ong Ronnie, Ordanes, Ortega, Uwanyo Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pajernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radaza, Ramirez Sato, Remulla, Revilla, Reyes, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Yeda, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Sanchez, Sangkopan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento, Saulog, Savellano, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Sinsuat, Suansing Estrelita, Suansing Horacio, Suarez Saleta, Suarez David, Suntay, C. Alvarado, Taduran, Talyado, Tambunting, Tanalaisa, Tanangelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherni, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Chanco, Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupas, Chutor, Tialan, Tijego, Umali Alfonso, Umali Maria Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva Eduardo, Villanueva Noel, Villar, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yap Eric, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Ronaldo, Zamora Waikurat, Zarate, and Zubiri. Second call of members for consideration and third reading of House Bills number 8814 and 8831. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abueg Saldivar, Abunda, Acosta, Ginaldo, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Aragones, Arenas, Aumentado, Bagaching, Baronda, Bernos, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulot, Kabatbat, Cabredo, Canama, Cardema, Cari, Chungalaw, Angelica, Colizalde, Cuanco, Colliantes, Crisologo, Cueva, Dalipe, De Jesus, Defensor Michael, Di Vaporo Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, Di Faustino Ino, Enverga, Erice, Ermita Buhain, Espino, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Flores, Fortun, Puentebella, Garin Sharon, Goed, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Sandro, Guya, Hataman, Hernandez, Jimenez, Cowilton, Lacson, Liachon, Lopez, Malapitan, Mangawang, Marcoleta, Mariño, Martinez, Matba, Mendoza, Mercado, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Núñez Malanyaon, Waminal, Ordanes, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pichay, Pineda, Romulo, Roque, Sagarbaria, Salceda, Sanchez, Sarmiento, Silverio, Singson Mihan, Suarez Saleta, Suarez David, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Torres Gomez, Tialan, Uy Juliet, Valmayor, Veloso, Villar, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Yap Victor, Yu, and Subiri.
With 191 members voting in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, House Bills number 8814 and 8831 are hereby approved on third and final reading. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on third reading House Bills 8841 and House Bill 8899 regarding renaming of certain local government units. And for this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the measure and thereafter to call the roll for nominal voting. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to name the title of the bill mentioned and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting. Please proceed.
House Bill number 8841, an act renaming Barangay San Isidro in the municipality of Lupon, province of Davao Oriental, as Barangay Ernesto de Violan. And House Bill number 8899, an act renaming the municipality of Rodriguez in the province of Rizal as the municipality of Montalban. Roll call of members for consideration on third reading. House Bill numbers 8841 and 8899. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg Saldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Senaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante Matba, Amatong, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Aumentado, Babasa, Bagaching, Balindong, Baños Nograles, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Barzaga, Bascug, Bautista, Bautista Bandigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo, Brosas, Bulut, Bustos, Kabatbat, Kabuchan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Kawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castelo, Castro France, Castro Fredenil, Cayetano Alan Peter, Cayetano Maria Laarni, Celeste, Chato, Chipeco, Chungalaw, Angelica, Coelizalde, Cuanco, Colliantes, Crisologo, Cuwa, Quaresma, Cueva, Culyamat, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, De Los Santos, De Loso Montalia, Di Maporo Abdullah, Di Maporo Khalid, Duavit, Duali, Duterte, Di Faustino Ino, Di Faustino Michael, Di Ian, Ebcas, Ecleo, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Frasco, Fuentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablo Jan, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Gato, Heron, Goed, Go Mark, Gonzaga, Gonzales, Aurelio, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Griseta, Gico, Gulias, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herardi, Hofer, Halosos, Javier, Jimenez, Coelisa, Cowilton, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacsonuel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lazatin, Liachon, Legarda, Lim, Lim Kaichong, Lopez, Loyola, Losotan, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Padrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Mangundadatu, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Momo, Natividad Naganyo, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malanyaon, Waminal, Olivares, Ong Jose, Ong Ronnie, Ordanes, Ortega, Uwano Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pajernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Remulla, Revilla, Reyes, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Sieda, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Sanchez, Sangkopan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento, Saulog, Savellano, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Sinsuat, Suansing Estrelita, Suansing Horacio, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Taduran, Talyado, Tambunting, Tan Alaisa, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Chanco, Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupas, Chutor, Tialan, T. Diego, Umali Alfonso, Umali Maria Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva Eduardo, Villanueva Noel, Villar, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villalago, Yap Eric, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Ronaldo, Zamora Waikulat, Zarate, and Subiri. Second call of members for consideration of third reading of House Bills numbers 8841 and 8899. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abueg Saldivar, Abunda, Acosta, Aguinaldo, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Aumentado, Bagaching, Baronda, Bernos, Diazon, Billones, Biron, Bulot, Kabatbat, Cabredo, Canama, Cardema, Cari, Chungalao, Coangelica, Coelizalde, Coanco, Collantes, Crisologo, Cueva, De Jesus, Defensor Michael, Di Vaporo Cali, Duabit, Duhali, Di Faustino Ino, Enverga, Erice, Ermita Buhain, Espino, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Flores, Fortun, Puentebella, Garin Sharon, Goed, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Sandro, Guya, Hataman, Hernandez, Jimenez, Cowilton, Lacson, Liachon, Lopez, Malapitan, Mangawang, Marcoleta, Marino, Martinez, Matba, Mendoza, Mercado, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malanyaon, Huaminal, Ordanes, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pichay, Pineda, Romulo, Roque, Sagarbaria, Salceda, Sanchez, Sarmiento, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnulfo, Torres Gomez, Tialan, Uy Juliet, Valmayor, Veloso, Villar, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Yap Victor, Yu, and Zubiri.
With 193 members voting in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, House Bill numbers 8841 and 8899 are hereby approved on third and final reading. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on third reading House Bills 8849, 8851, 8852, and 8853 regarding declaration of tourism destinations. And for this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the measures and thereafter to call the roll for nominal voting. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is so directed to read the title of the bills and thereafter call the roll call for nominal voting. Please proceed.
House Bill number 8849, an act declaring Pag-asa Island and its adjoining islands of Parola, Kota, and Panata, located in the municipality of Kalayaan, province of Palawan, an ecotourism destinations to be collectively known as the Pag-asa Island Ecotourism Cluster, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8851, an act declaring Pinsal Falls, located in the municipality of San Nicolas, province of Pangasinan, a tourism destination, providing for its development and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8852, an act declaring Diket Falls, located in the municipality of Umingan, province of Pangasinan, a tourism destination, providing for its development and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8853, an act declaring the province of Southern Leyte a tourism zone and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call of members in consideration of House Bill numbers 8849, 8851, 8852, 8853 on third reading. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg Saldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adyong, Advincula, Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Genaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante Matba, Amatong, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Omentado, Babasa, Bagatsing, Balindong, Banyas Nograles, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Barzaga, Bascub, Bautista, Bautista Bandigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Biazon, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo, Brosas, Bulot, Bustos, Kabatbat, Cabochan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Kawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castelo, Castro France, Castro Fredenil, Cayetano Alan Peter, Cayetano Mariela Arni, Celeste, Chato, Chipeco, Chungalao, Co Angelica, Co Elizaldi, Coangco, Coliantes, Quisologo, Cua, Quaresma, Cueva, Culyamat, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, De Los Santos, De Loso Montalia, Di Maporo Abdullah, Di Maporo Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, Di Faustino Ino, Di Faustino Michael, Di Ian, Ebcas, Ecleo, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Frasco, Fuentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablo Jan, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Gatog, Heron, Goed, Go Mark, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Goriseta, Gico, Gulias, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Haloso, Xavier, Jimenez, Ko Eliza, Ko Wilton, Kong Hun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lazatin, Liachon, Legarda, Lim, Lim Kaichong, Lopez, Loyola, Lusotan, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Mangudadatu, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Marinho, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Momo, Natividad Naganyo, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malaniaon, Uwaminal, Olivares, Ong Jose, Ong Ronnie, Ordanes, Ortega, Uano Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Padiernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radaza, Ramirez Sato, Remulla, Revilla, Reyes, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Yeda, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, sa Garbaria, sa Kaluran, Salceda, sa Limbangon, Salos, Sanchez, Angcopan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento, Saulug, Savellano, Siao, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Sinsuwat, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, si Alvarado, Taduran, Talyado, Tambunting, Tan Alaysa, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnolfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupas, Tutor, T. Alan, T. Diego, Umagi Alfonso, Mali Maria Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva Eduardo, Villanueva Noel, Villar, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yap Eric, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Ronaldo, Zamora Waikorat, Zarate, Zubiri. Second call in consideration on third reading of House Bill numbers 8849, 8851, 8852, and 8853. Abante, Abaya, Abueg Saldivar, Abunda, Acosta, Aguinaldo, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Aumentado, Bagatsing, Baronda, Bernos, Biazon, Billones, Biron, Bulut, Kabatbat, Cabredo, Canama, Cardema, Cari, Chungalaw, Co Angelica, Co Elizaldi, Co Juanco, Colliantes, Crisologo, Cueva, De Jesus, Defensor Michael, Dimaporo Khalid, Duavit Duhalid, Di Faustino Ino, Enverga, Erice, Ermita Buhain, Espino, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Flores, Fortun, Fuentebella, Garin Sharon, Goed, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Sandro, Guya, Hataman, Hernandez, Jimenez, Co Wilton, Lacson, Leachon, Lopez, Malapitan, Mangawang, Marcoleta, Marino, Martinez, Matba, Mendoza, Mercado, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malanyaon, Uwaminal, Ordanes, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pichay, Pineda, Romulo, Roque, Sagarbaria, Salceda, Sanchez, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, si Alvarado, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnolfo, Torres Gomez, T. Alan, Uy Juliet, Valmayor, Veloso, Villar, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Yap Victor, Yu Zubiri.
With 195 members voting in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, House Bills numbers 8849, 8851, 8852, and 8853 are hereby approved on third and final reading. The Honorable Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on third reading the following House bills: 8861, 8862, 8871, 8872, 8873, 8877, 8911, 8912, and 8913 regarding local legislative franchises. And for this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the measures and thereafter to call the roll for nominal voting. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is so directed to read the title of the bills and thereafter call the roll call for nominal voting. Please proceed.
House Bill number 8861, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Panay Telephone Corporation under Republic Act number 8704, entitled An Act Granting the Panay Telephone Corporation Incorporated a franchise to construct, establish, install, maintain, and operate local exchange network in the provinces of Aklan and Antique and in the municipality of Haniway, Province of Iloilo limiting the area of operation to the provinces of Aklan and Antique. House Bill number 8862, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Independent Telephone Company Incorporated under Republic Act number 8615, entitled An Act Granting the Independent Telephone Company Incorporated a franchise to construct, establish, install, maintain, and operate a local exchange network in the municipality of Binyan, province of Laguna. House Bill number 8871, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Mati Telephone Corporation under Republic Act number 8675, entitled An Act Granting the Mati Telephone Corporation a franchise to construct, establish, install, maintain, and operate local exchange network in the province of Davao Oriental. House Bill number 8872, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Odyongan Telephone Corporation under Republic Act number 8956, entitled An Act Granting the Odyongan Telephone Corporation a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain local exchange network in the province of Romblon. House Bill number 8873, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Iriga Telephone Company under Republic Act number 8962, entitled An Act Granting the Iriga Telephone Company a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain a local exchange network in the province of Camarines Sur and all the cities therein. House Bill number 8877, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Sultan Kudarat Telephone System Incorporated under Republic Act number 8637, entitled An Act Granting Sultan Kudarat Telephone System Incorporated a franchise to construct, establish, install, maintain, and operate local exchange network in the province of Sultan Kudarat. House Bill number 8911, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to RC Yulo Telephone System Incorporated under Republic Act number 8348, entitled An Act Granting the RC Yulo Telephone System Incorporated a franchise to construct, establish, install, maintain, and operate local exchange network in the municipalities of Binalbagan, Hinigiran, Pontevedra, Murcia, Himamaylan, and Isabela, province of Negros Occidental. And House Bill number 8912, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Rasitelcom Incorporated under Republic Act number 8606, entitled An Act Granting the Radio City Telephone Company, Rasitelco, a franchise to construct, establish, install, maintain, and operate local exchange network in the municipalities of Maykawayan, Santa Maria, Marilao, Bocaue, and Abangan, province of Bulacan. House Bill number 8913, an act renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Marbel Telephone System Incorporated under Republic Act number 8449, entitled An Act Granting Marbel Telephone System Incorporated a franchise to construct, establish, install, maintain, and operate local exchange network in the provinces of South Cotabato, Sultan Kudarat, and Sarangani. Roll call of members in consideration of House Bill numbers 8861, 8862, 8871, 8872, 8873, 8877, 8911, 8912, and 8913 on third reading. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg Saldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adyong, Advincula, Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Genaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante Matba, Amatong, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Omentado, Babasa, Bagatsing, Balindong, Banyas Nograles, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Barsaga, Baskug, Bautista, Bautista Bandigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Biazon, Billones, Biron, Bolilia, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo, Brosas, Bulot, Bustos, Kabatbat, Cabochan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Kawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Fredinil, Cayetano Alan Peter, Cayetano Mariela Arni, Celeste, Chato, Chipeco, Chungalao, Co Angelica, Co Elizaldi, Co Wangco, Coliantes, Crisologo, Cuwa, Quaresma, Cueva, Culyamat, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, De Los Santos, De La Osa Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duawit, Duhali, Duterte, Di Faustino Ino, Di Faustino Michael, Di Ian, Ebcas, Ecleo, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Frasco, Fentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablo Jan, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Gato, Heron, Goed, Gomark, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Goriseta, Gico, Gulias, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera, D. Hofer, Halosos, Javier, Jimenez, Ko Eliza, Ko Wilton, Kung Hun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lazatin, Leachon, Legarda, Lim Kaichong, Lopez, Loyola, Lusotan, Macapagal-Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Mangunadatu, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Marinho, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Momo, Natividad Naganyo, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malanyao, Nuwaminal, Olivares, Ong Jose, Ong Ronnie, Ordanes, Ortega, Uwano Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Padiernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radaza, Ramirez Sato, Remulla, Revilla, Reyes, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Sieda, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Sanchez, Angkopan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento, Saulug, Savellano, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Sinsuat, Suansing Estrelita, Suansing Horacio, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Taduran, Talyado, Tambunting, Tan Alaysa, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnolfo, Teves Jose, Tiangco, Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupas, Tutor, T. Alan, T. Diego, Umali Alfonso, Umali Maria Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva Eduardo, Villanueva Noel, Villar, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yap Eric, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Ronaldo, Zamora Waikorat, Zarate, Zubiri. Second call for consideration on third reading of House Bill numbers 8861, 8862, 8871, 8872, 8873, 8877, 8911, 8912, and 8913. Abante, Abaya, Abeg Saldivar, Abunda Acosta, Aguinaldo, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Agmentado, Bagatsing, Baronda, Bernos, Biazon, Bilyones, Biron, Bulot, Kabatbat, Cabredo, Kanama, Cardema, Cari, Chunggalaw, Ko Angelica, Ko Elizalde, Ko Juanco, Colliantes, Crisologo, Cueva, De Jesus, Defensor Michael, Dimaporo Khalid, Duavit Duhali, Di Faustino Ino, Enverga, Erice, Ermita Buhain, Espino, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Flores, Fortun, Fuentebella, Garin Sharon, Goed, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Sandro, Guya, Hataman, Hernandez, Jimenez, Co Wilton, Lacson, Leachon, Lopez, Malapitan, Mangawang, Marcoleta, Marinho, Martinez, Matba, Mendoza, Mercado, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malanyaon, Uwaminal, Ordanes, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pichay, Pineda, Romulo, Roque, Sagarbaria, Salceda, Sanchez, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Suarez Aleta, Suarez David, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves Arnolfo, Teves Torres Gomez, T. Alan, Uy Juliet, Valmayor, Veloso, Villar, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Yap Victor, Yu, Zubiri.
With 196 members voting in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, House Bills numbers 8861, 8862, 8871, 8873, 8872, 887, again, House Bills number 8861, 8862, 8871, 8872, 8873, 8877, 8911, 8912, and 8913 are hereby approved on third and final reading. Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on third reading the following House bills: 8886, 8887, 8888, 8889, 8890, 8891, 8892, 8893, regarding establishment of hospitals. And for this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the measures and thereafter to call the roll for nominal voting. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the titles of the bill and thereafter call the roll for a nominal voting. Please proceed.
House Bill number 8886, an act converting the Agusan del Norte Provincial Hospital in the city of Butuan, province of Agusan del Norte, into a Level 3 teaching and training hospital to be known as the Agusan del Norte General Hospital and Training Center, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8887, an act establishing a general hospital in the city of Iligan, province of Lanao del Norte, to be known as the Iligan General Hospital, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8888, an act establishing in the municipality of Don Marcelino, province of Davao Occidental, a community hospital to be known as the Lamidan Community Hospital, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8889, an act establishing in Barangay Novaliches proper, Quezon City, a health center and lying-in clinic to be known as the Novaliches Health Center and lying-in clinic, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8890, an act establishing in the municipality of Abad Santos, province of Davao Occidental, a community hospital to be known as the Nuing Community Hospital, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8891, an act converting the Sulu Provincial Hospital in the municipality of Jolo, province of Sulu, into a tertiary hospital to be known as the Sulu General Hospital, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8892, an act converting the Sulu Sanitarium in the municipality of Jolo, province of Sulu, into a general hospital to be known as the Sulu Sanitarium and General Hospital, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 8893, an act converting the Western Visayas Sanitarium in the municipality of Santa Barbara, province of Iloilo, into a general hospital to be known as the Western Visayas Sanitarium and General Hospital, and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call of members for consideration on third reading. House Bills number 8886, 8887, 8888, 8889, 8890, 8891, 8892, and 8893. Abante, Abaya, Abellanosa, Abu Saldivar, Abunda, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agabas, Agaraw, Aglipay, Aguinaldo, Albano, Almario, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Senaro, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante Matba, Amatong, Angara, Aragones, Arbison, Arenas, Arroyo, Atienza, Aumentado, Babasa, Bagaching, Balindong, Banyas Negrales, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Barzaga, Bascug, Bautista, Bautista Bandigan, Belmonte, Benitez, Bernos, Biazon, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo, Brosas, Bulut, Bustos, Kabatbat, Kabuchan, Cabredo, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Kawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castelo, Casto Franz, Casto Fredenil, Cayetano Alan Peter, Cayetano Maria Laerni, Celeste, Chato, Chipeco, Chungalaw, Coangelica, Coelizalde, Cuanco, Colliantes, Crisologo, Cua, Cuaresma, Cueva, Culiamat, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor Lawrence, Defensor Michael, De Los Santos, De Loso Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, Di Faustino Ino, Di Faustino Michael, DEN, Ebcas, Ecleo, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Fer Luis, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Frasco, Puentebella, Gaite, Garbin, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Pablo Jan, Garcia Vincent, Garin Janet, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Gato, Heron, Goed, Gomark, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Goriseta, Gico, Gulias, Guya, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herdi, Hofer, Halosos, Javier, Jimenez, Coelisa, Cowilton, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacsonuel, Lagman, Lagon, Lara, Lazadin, Liachon, Ligarda, Lim Kaichong, Lopez, Loyola, Lusotan, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangawang, Mangudadatu, Marcoleta, Mariano Hernandez, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Matba, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Momo, Natividad Naganyo, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malaniaon, Uaminal, Olivares, Ong Jose, Ong Ronnie, Ordanes, Ortega, Uaño Dizon, Pacquiao Alberto, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pajernos, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panotes, Peña, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Puno, Kimbo, Radaza, Ramirez Sato, Remulla, Revilla, Reyes, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand, Romualdez Sieda, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Sanchez, Sangkopan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento, Saulog, Savellano, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihan, Sinsuat, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez Saleta, Suarez David, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Taduran, Talyado, Tambunting, Tanalaisa, Tanangelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherni, Tihada, Teves Arnulfo, Teves Jose, Chanco, Tolentino, Torres Gomez, Tulfo, Tupas, Tutor, Tialan, Tijego, Umali Alfonso, Umali Marie Victoria, Unabia, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso, Vergara, Villa, Villafuerte, Villanueva Eduardo, Villanueva Noel, Villar, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villalago, Yap Eric, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Ronaldo, Zamora Waikurat, Zarate, and Subiri. Second call of members for consideration and third reading of House Bill numbers 8886, 8887, 8888, 8889, 8890, 8891, 8892, and 8893. Abante, Abaya, Abag Saldivar, Abunda, Acosta, Aguinaldo, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Mentado, Bagaching, Baronda, Bernos, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulot, Kabatbat, Cabredo, Canama, Cardema, Cari, Kichongalaw, Angelica, Elizalde, Cuanco, Collantes, Crisologo, Cueva, De Jesus, Defensor Michael, Dimaporo, Khalid, Duavit, Duhali, De Pausino Nino, Edverga, Erice, Ermita Buhain, Espino, Fariñas Ria, Fariñas Rudy Cesar, Fernandez, Fernando, Flores, Puentebella, Green Sharon, Goed, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Sandro, Guya, Hataman, Jimenez, Cowilton, Lacson, Liachon, Lopez, Malapitan, Mangawang, Marcoleta, Marino, Martinez, Matba, Mendoza, Mercado, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Juan, Nolasco, Nunez Malanion, Waminal, Ordanes, Pacquiao Rogelio, Pichay, Pineda, Romulo, Roque, Sagabaria, Salceda, Sanchez, Silverio, Singson, Singson Mihat, Suarez Eleta, Suarez David, Suntay, Si Alvarado, Tan Angelina, Tan Samir, Tan Shari, Tan Sherni, Tihada, Teves Arnulfo, Torres Gomez, Tialan, Uy Juliet, Balmayor, Veloso, Villar, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Yap Victor, UN Subiri.
With 197 members voting in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, House Bills number 8886, 8887, 8888, 8889, 8890, 8891, 8892, and 8893 are hereby approved on third and final reading. The Honorable Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, for the information of our colleagues, we are torn between our legislative duty of giving the chance to our colleagues to go home during the break with all their legislation passed on third reading, but at the same time, we are cognizant of the 6 p.m. curfew so that the employees of the House can go home during this COVID surge. With that, Mr. Speaker, let me wrap up our session before 6 p.m. with some administrative matters. Mr. Speaker, I move that we designate the following members to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of House Bill number 8928 and Senate Bill number 1296, establishing the Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute, the Honorable Juan Miguel Macapagal Arroyo, the Honorable Presley De Jesus, the Honorable Rosana Vergara, and the Honorable Stella Kimbo. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the omnibus consideration of the following measures: House Bill 8996, House Bill 8997, House Bill 9000, House Bill 9001, House Bill 9002, House Bill 9003, House Bill 9005, House Bill 9008, and House Bill 9009. These are all local bills, Mr. Speaker. I move for their consideration. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion as stated by the Honorable Floor Leader. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the explanatory notes of said measures serve as their sponsorship speeches. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to adopt as sponsorship speech the explanatory note of the aforesaid bills. There any objection? Chair is none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being none of our colleagues who wishes to interpolate these local measures, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate on those above-mentioned
There is a
measures.
motion to close the sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being neither individual nor committee amendments to these measures, I move that we close the period of amendments on those measures. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion to close the period of amendments. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, it's my honor to move for approval on second reading on House Bill 8996, 8997, 9000, 9001, 9002, 9003, 9005, 9008, and 9009. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion to approve on second reading the bills mentioned by the Honorable Majority Floor Leader. Is there any objection? Those who are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those who are against, say nay. The ayes have it. The aforementioned bills, as mentioned by the Honorable Floor Leader, are approved on second reading.
Mr. Speaker, to cap our session for today, I move that we recognize the Honorable Sara Elago from the party list Kabataan for her very short privilege speech. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Sara Ilago is recognized for her privileged speech.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Speaker, sa pagkakataon at sa konsiderasyon sa kalusugan at kapakanan ng ating mga kapwa lingkod bayan. Nais lamang maipahayag at maibahagi ng representasyon na ito ang aming tindig ngayong ika-17 ng Marso, isang taon mula nang magpataw ng lockdown sa Pilipinas. Pangunahin lamang na nakaasa ang administrasyon sa malaganap na lockdown upang makontrol ang paglaganap ng coronavirus at ito ang isa sa pinakamatagal sa buong daigdig. Nananatiling kapos ang mga hakbang sa pangkalusugan at pangkabuhayan upang matiyak na makokontrol ang pandemya at malalabanan hindi lamang ang sakit, kundi lalo na ang gutom at kahirapan sa bansa. Matatandaang naitala rin ang unang kaso ng COVID-19 sa bansa mula sa isang kaso noong January 30 at ito rin ang araw kung kailan nagdeklara na ang World Health Organization na ang COVID-19 ay isang public health emergency of international concern. Isang linggo pa lang bago ito, nagsimula na ang mga panawagan mula sa iba't ibang organisasyon sa bansa para sa pagpataw ng travel ban mula China, lalo na nang ma-lockdown ang Hubei province kung nasaan ang Wuhan na ground zero ng pandemic mula January 23. Sa kabila ng tumatakbo ang oras na mahalaga sa pagpigil sa paglaganap ng virus, nagkaroon lamang ng imposisyon ng travel ban matapos ang 8 araw. January 31 na nang mag-anunsyo ng travel ban mula Hubei hanggang sa pinalawig ito sa mainland China, Hong Kong at Macau noong February 2. Umamin rin ang Department of Health na naging huli na ang deklarasyon ng State of Public Health Emergency sa bansa. Lumabas lang ito isang araw matapos makumpirma ang unang local transmission ng COVID-19 sa Pilipinas noong March 7. Ginoong Speaker, napakahalaga na magbalik tanaw dahil ito ay naging indikasyon rin ng mga sumunod na hakbang ng pamahalaan laban sa COVID-19 na relatibong nahuhuli, mabagal at mula po na dun sa ating mga karanasan sa kawalan ng malinaw na patakaran sa mass testing, sistematiko at agresibo na contact tracing, pagkakaroon ng malinaw na patakaran sa quarantine, sa pamamahagi ng cash subsidies, sa ilalim ng Social Amelioration Program at hanggang ngayon sa rollout ng National COVID-19 Vaccination Program sa buong bansa. Kailangan ang baliktanaw upang wag nang balikan ang mga dating kakulangan, kaguluhan o kapalpakan at wakasan na ang anumang tipo ng korupsyon at kriminal na kapabayaan. Pagdating sa sektor ng kalusugan, bago pa man ang 2020, isa na ito sa palaging nakakaranas ng mga budget cuts, partikular sa mga public hospitals at human resources for health. Lalong naging malinaw sa mga kabataan ang halaga ng pamumuno at pamamahala sa pagsagip ng buhay at sa pangkabuang paggawa ng mga interbensyon upang proteksyonan ang karapatan at kapakanan ng sambayan ng Pilipino. Higit ring nabigyang diin ang pangangailangan para sa social solidarity sa kabila ng physical distancing. Kahit pa may mga restriksyon sa mobilidad, ipinakita ng iba't ibang people's o civil society organizations, mga school o community-based man, ang kapasyahan na itulak ang pamahalaan at ipanawagan na ang karapatang pantao at mga batayang kalayaan mula sa karapatan sa kalusugan, sa edukasyon, hanggang sa kalayaan sa pamamahayag at organisasyon ang siyang dapat nasa ubod ng pandemic response at recovery. Imbis na tugunan ang mga demands ukol sa public health at social protection, naging matining rin ang mga pronouncement ng Pangulo na quote-unquote, shoot them dead sa mga naaakusahan na may lumabag sa quarantine protocols noong buwan ng Abril ng nakaraang taon. Sinasalamin nito, Ginoong Speaker, ang pangkabuang kalagayan ng malawakang paglabag sa karapatang pantao at lumalalang klima ng kawalang katarungan sa bansa. Umabot na ng humigit kumulang 76,000 ang mga inaresto ng mga sinasabing quarantine violators. Maski ang mga relief workers ay nakaranas rin ng mga panggigipit at pagkakakulong tulad ng 10 na naglunsad ng feeding program na kalaunan ay binasura rin ang kaso dahil wala naman talagang batayan ang kanilang naging detention. Imbis na malasakit, iba't ibang forma ng pagpapakasakit ang naranasan ng mga nananawagan ng ayuda at pagrespeto sa karapatan. Nariyan ang Piston 6 ng mga jeepney drivers na nananawagan ng 100% balikpasada, ang Pride 20 na lumalaban pa sa gender-based violence na parehong nakaranas ng marahas na dispersal o pagkakakulong ng ilang araw noong June 20. Matapos ang 6 na buwan, Ginoong Speaker, tuluyan ng binasura ng Manila prosecutor ang police complaint laban sa Pride 20. Ayon din sa ulat ng Human Rights Watch na nilabas ngayong January 2021, ang drug war killings sa taong 2020 ay tumaas ng higit 50% sa mga unang buwan ng pandemya. Kaya naman, dahil sa record ng pamamaslang at abuso sa Oplan-Tokhang, walang kaparis ang paggundina at pagdismaya ng mga youth groups, people's organizations sa naipasang resolusyon ng Regional Law Enforcement Body ng Cordillera Administrative Region ukol sa tukhang sa mga sinasabing left-leaning personalities, mula community leaders hanggang sa mga journalist. Hindi na rin bago ang mga so-called raids sa mga opisina o bahay ng mga aktivista o human rights defenders gamit ang factory ng search warrants na nagresulta sa pagkapaslang ng siyam sa Panay, siyam rin sa Timog Katagalugan at hindi na mabilang ng mga naaresto at sa kasalukuyan na nakakulong. Dagdag pa sa sumisikip na malayang espasyo ng diskurso at partisipasyon ang mga banta sa academic freedom tulad na lamang ng unilateral abrogation ng UPDND Accord at nakapapahamak na red baiting mismo sa mga 38 na educational institutions. Kaya naman, Ginoong Speaker, ang mga kabataan ay patuloy na nananawagan na tayo ay umayon sa solusyong medikala. Isang taon na ang lumipas, ngunit hindi pa rin ang nagbabagong ito. Hindi pa rin ito nagbabago dahil higit na kinakailangan na paunlarin at pagsikapan natin ang pagbatay sa agham, ang pagbatay sa katotohanan, ang pagbatay sa facts sa lahat ng mga susunod pang desisyon ng Duterte administration, ng kapulungan na ito, at lahat ng mga nakakaapekto sa pagsasagip ng buhay at pagtitiyak ng kapakanan ng sambayanang Pilipino. Dagdag po sa ating mga panawagan, mula sa libre at ligtas na pagbabakuna, ang 10,000 na wage subsidies, ang 15,000 agricultural production subsidy, at ang ligtas na muling pagbubukas ng mga paaralan. Muli, maraming salamat, Ginoong Speaker. Patuloy na magbabantay ang kabataan hanggat sasama-sama natin na paghilom at sama-samang pagbangon mula sa pandemya. Maraming salamat.
The Honorable Floor Leader.
Speaker, I move that the speech of the Honorable Sara Ilago be referred to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action. So move.
There's a motion to refer the privileged speech of the Honorable Sara Ilago to the Committee on Rules. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that all bills approved on third reading be transmitted to the Senate for their immediate action. So move.
There's a motion to transmit all bills approved on third reading be transmitted to the Senate. Take note, Secretary. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we begin consideration of a local House Bill 8961 entitled An Act Declaring the Municipality of Dolores, Province of Quezon, a tourism destination and appropriating funds therefore, and for that purpose, recognize the sponsor, the Honorable Noy Defensor. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Defensor is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the explanatory note of House Bill number 8961 be adopted as the sponsorship speech for the said bill.
Mr. Speaker, there being none of our colleagues who wishes to interpolate regarding the measure, I move that we close the period of sponsorship on House Bill 8961. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to close period of sponsorship and debate. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments for House Bill 8961. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to open the period of amendments. Is there any objection? There's no objection. Motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, for committee amendments, I move that we recognize the esteemed lady from the Committee on Rules, the Honorable Nina Taduran. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Taduran is recognized. Please proceed, Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I would like to introduce an individual amendment, which will now read as follows. An act declaring the municipality of Dolores, province of Quezon, as a center of health and wellness and a tourist destination, and appropriating funds therefore.
What is the pleasure of the sponsor?
We accept the proposed amendment, Mr. Speaker.
The amendment is accepted. What is the pleasure of the floor leader, Your Honor?
Mr. Speaker, we move that the amendment be carried. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to accept the amendment. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Amendment is approved.
Mr. Speaker, we move for the approval on second reading of House Bill number 8961. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to approve on second reading House Bill number 8961. Is there any objection? Those who are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those who are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 8961 is approved on second reading.
One more, Speaker. All right.
Please proceed, Your Honor, the Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we take up additional reference of business and direct the Secretary General to read the title of said measures/resolutions, etc. So move.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the additional reference of business.
Additional reference of business message from the Senate, message dated March 15, 2021, informing the House that on March 15, 2021, the Senate approved the Conference Committee reports of the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 1513 and House Bill number 4466 and Senate Bill 1563 and House Bill number 8261.
To the Committee on Rules.
Committee report. Report number 876 of the Committees on Government Reorganization, Transportation, and Appropriations on House Bill number 9030.
To the Committee on Rules. The Honorable Floor Leader.
All right, Mr. Speaker, there being no other matters that we wish to discuss, today I move that we adjourn session until Monday, March 15, 3 p.m. So move.
Session is suspended until...
I'm sorry. Let me correct that. March 22.
Session is suspended until Monday, March 22, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Is there any second? Duly seconded. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The session is adjourned until Monday, 22 March at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sige. Dito na lang ako. Rimpi. So dito na lang ako.